Chapter 3597. In the night sky, as the island disappeared, the clouds dispersed, and Xianyuan Mose, the Black Lotus Master, and the others appeared in the night sky. Although it was nighttime, the aura that soared into the sky was extremely dazzling. Especially at this moment, the Black Lotus Master was in the air and was frantically absorbing the spiritual energy and fighting spirit from those people. The aura surged into his body, and those people who were initially angry and excited were now screaming in pain. This was because their spiritual energy and fighting spirit were being sucked dry along with their fighting spirit. The cultivators were like flowers that had been doused with hot water. They withered rapidly, grew old, and died. Ha! Wild laughter came from the Black Lotus Lord's mouth. It contained a powerful aura and caused the entire sky to tremble. His laughter spread out like ripples in the water and spread throughout the land. Xianyuan Mose suppressed the surging blood in his heart. His deep black eyes stared at the Black Lotus Master, who he could not get close to. Even in the dark of the night, he could see the black aura gushing out of the Black Lotus Master's body. In order to kill Sovereign Tongtian, he had used the doppelganger technique to divert his attention. However, the saber had indeed landed on him. Even though it was his doppelganger, it had still caused him to suffer serious injuries. However, he did not expect the Black Lotus Master to cultivate an evil technique. He had absorbed the spiritual energy and fighting spirit from those cultivators into his body to strengthen his strength. Seeing the Black Lotus Master's strength increase, he knew that he could not continue fighting. Otherwise, he would most likely be defeated by the Black Lotus Master. Then, while the Black Lotus Master was still absorbing those people's energy, he turned around and wanted to leave. However, at this moment, the Black Lotus Master's sinister and murderous voice was heard. "You want to leave? Huh? Do you think you can still leave?" A sinister voice rang out. In the next moment, he raised his hand, and a black stream of air shot out like a venomous snake towards Xianyuan Mose. Seeing this, Xianyuan Mose, who had turned around, moved his hand that was holding the Xianyuan sword. A sharp sword chi shot out and dispersed the black aura. However, the aura was like fog. It dispersed and condensed again, coming towards him from all directions. His brows furrowed as he looked at the black aura. He quickly retreated while thinking of a way to deal with it. When his gaze landed on the Black Lotus Lord, his heart skipped a beat. The spiritual energy in his body surged, and he swung the Xianyuan sword. Swish! The sharp chi sword contained a powerful airflow and whizzed out. The sword chi that was visible to the naked eye emitted a cold, killing intent and chopped down with the force of a thunderbolt. Ooh! When the sword chi reached the Black Lotus Lord's side, it was blocked by the black aura and could not advance any further. Seeing this, Xianyuan Mose narrowed his eyes and slapped the hilt of the Xianyuan sword with his other hand. A hidden force struck out, and the Xianyuan sword in his hand also attacked with that slap. Swish! The tip of the ancient sword emitted a sharp light. The sword struck out with a force that was too fast for one to cover one's ears. In an instant, it broke through the black aura and headed straight for the Black Lotus Lord. Caught off guard, the Black Lotus Lord abruptly withdrew his cultivation technique and quickly dodged. Chapter 3598. Looking at the falling cultivators, the Black Lotus Lord's face turned gloomy. The black aura around his body also became thicker because of his gloomy aura. "You've ruined my plans. I'll take you as compensation." A sinister voice sounded. His hand surged, and two black auras suddenly attacked. The rolling black auras quickly attacked Xianyuan Mose. The Xianyuan sword flew back to Xianyuan Mose's hand after circling once. Looking at the black aura attacking him, he immediately released a powerful aura. This aura blocked the black aura. However, the black aura became thicker and thicker until it completely blocked his line of sight. The Black Lotus Lord revealed a sinister smile. His voice was filled with ruthlessness. "Dime, watch out for your left side." When the Azure Dragon saw this scene in midair, it was so shocked that it hurriedly reminded him. Just as it was about to go forward to help, it saw a red figure sweep over like a ghost. Before the figure came close, a red ribbon had already attacked and wrapped around its master's waist, pulling him back. Ghost Doctor. The Azure Dragon saw the person and could not help but call out in surprise. The familiar aura made Xianyuan Mose unable to dodge or break free from the red ribbon around his waist. He retreated and was pulled back by the red ribbon, crashing into Fengjiu's arms. "Are you all right? Are you hurt?" Fengjiu asked nervously, worried that he was injured. Hearing the nervousness and worry in her familiar voice, Xianyuan Mose smiled slightly. His deep eyes were filled with tenderness as he looked at the woman in front of him. "I'm fine. Don't worry. It's good that you're fine. You're too reckless. How could you come here alone? What would I do if something happened to you?" Her worried heart was relieved when she saw that he was fine. However, she was worried again when she smelled the blood on his body. "You're injured? Were you hurt? Is it serious?" She was so nervous that she did not realize that he was injured. His black robe covered the wounds and bloodstains on his body. She could not tell where he was injured. Was his injury serious? "It's just a small injury. Don't worry." Xianyuan Mose comforted her and protected her behind him. He looked at the Black Lotus Lord in front of him and said to Fengjiu, "He has absorbed the spiritual energy, battle intent, and hatred of thousands of cultivators. Now that his strength has increased greatly, he's not easy to deal with." Fengjiu looked at the Black Lotus Lord, who was surrounded by black aura. She walked out from behind Xianyuan Mose and said, "He can only be dealt with by me. My heavenly fire and the green lotus in my body can restrain his black aura. You go to the side, and don't let the side." Xianyuan Mose frowned, but he didn't leave. Instead, he held Fengjiu's hand and said, "You're no match for him alone. Let's work together." After exchanging blows with the Master of the Black Lotus, he knew that the Master of the Black Lotus was far more powerful than the Sovereign of Skirich. That strange Black Lotus aura was especially difficult to deal with. If she were to face it alone, who knew what would happen? "The three of us will work together to deal with him." Mo Chun, who was dressed in white, walked over slowly. His white robe and his body emitted the light of the Son of God. He was as dazzling as the moon in the night. Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu glanced at him. Then they looked away and looked at the Black Lotus Lord in front of them. They seemed to be thinking about something. Chapter 35:99. The Black Lotus Lord's voice was sinister and filled with viciousness. He stared viciously at Fengjiu, who was dressed in red. His gaze was like that of a venomous snake staring at its prey. He looked at the three of them and revealed a sinister smile. "You want to deal with me? Have you all forgotten whose territory this is?" As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly waved his hand, and a black vortex appeared. His voice, which contained a powerful aura, was heard. "Come out, all of you." The vortex that appeared in midair surged, and in the next moment, cultivators rushed out from it. These cultivators were not the subordinates of the Sovereign of Skirich, but the subordinates of the Black Lotus Lord. The black mass surrounded the area. There were 3 layers of people, both inside and outside. It could be said that there were close to 10,000 people. However, the people who rushed out from the vortex did not stop. They continued to jump out from the vortex. There were so many of them that it was unbelievable. The Sovereign of Black Lotus is invincible. Destroy Xianyuan Fengjiu and become the supreme ruler of the world. The Sovereign of Black Lotus is invincible. Destroy Xianyuan Fengjiu and become the supreme ruler of the world. Shouts came from the mouths of the cultivators, which contained the aura of everyone's spirit energy. Their voices pierced through the clouds and echoed in the sky. They raised their swords high and pointed them at the sky. Their shouts were filled with excitement and agitation. It was as if they had already seen their sovereign annihilating Xianyuan Mose, Fengjiu, and the others. His voice, which was as imposing as mountains and rivers, also entered the ears of all the cultivators in the sky. Hearing the shouts that reverberated in the sky, the Black Lotus Lord narrowed his eyes, and a smile appeared on his face. He was very satisfied with this situation. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Moreover, he did not need to make a move. Just the people under him alone were enough to exhaust the cultivator's strength. With a wave of his hand, the deafening shouts immediately quieted down. The black mass of cultivators all quietly looked at their monarch, waiting for his command. They knew that as long as they destroyed Xianyuan Mo's, Fengjiu, and the others today, their sovereign would become the new sovereign of several realms. Their status would be extraordinary, and their status would rise as well. Xianyuan Mo's, Fengjiu, even if you have great abilities and powerful strength, do you think my subordinates can't exhaust you to death? The Black Lotus Lord said sinisterly. He looked as if he was watching a good show. He stared at them as if he was looking at dead people. In the next moment, he raised his hand and spoke in a voice filled with hostility. Let's go. Kill them for Benjun. The one who takes their heads, I will make him the sovereign of the lower realms. The one who slashes them and makes them bleed, I will make him a respected sovereign. Hearing this, the tens of thousands of cultivators were in an uproar. Thinking of their sovereign's words, no one thought about whether they were strong enough to fight against him. Instead, they thought that since they had so many people, they could exhaust them to death. Thus, as soon as their monarch finished speaking, the tens of thousands of cultivators roared and charged towards them with swords in hand. Kill them. Take their heads. Kill. Kill. Chapter 3600. Xianyuan Mo's, Fengjiu, and Mo Chen's expressions were as calm as water as they watched the dense mass of cultivators pouncing towards them. Mo Chen stood behind Xianyuan Mo's and Fengjiu as he watched quietly. The saint light on his body gradually grew stronger. Xianyuan Mo's glanced at the cultivators. His thin lips moved slightly as he spoke in a low voice filled with pressure. Azure Dragon, wipe them out. Roar. The azure dragon that was hovering in air raised its head and let out a dragon roar. With a swing of its tail, it swung towards those cultivators. The pressure of an ancient divine beast was also released at this moment, attacking those cultivators. Fengjiu glanced indifferently at the cultivators. Her red lips moved slightly as she spoke in a cold voice. Fire Phoenix. As soon as she spoke, a ray of fire shot out from her body. An extremely beautiful fire phoenix that was covered in raging flames flew into the sky. In an instant, it lit up the entire night sky. The cry of a phoenix rang out as the pressure of an ancient divine beast transformed into waves of attacks towards the cultivators. Tun Yun, who was following behind, had already charged forward to join the chaotic battle as soon as Fengjiu summoned the fire phoenix. Even with the azure dragon, Fire Phoenix, and Tun Yun taking care of the cultivators, it was difficult to clear them out in a short period of time due to the sheer number of cultivators. In addition, the cultivators under the Black Lotus Master were all covered in a black, destructive aura. The aura was so strong that it formed a protective barrier around them. It allowed them to fight with all their might without fearing the pressure of an ancient divine beast. Seeing this, she frowned and said, "There's something strange about the aura of those people. Under normal circumstances, even if the opponent's cultivation was very strong, it would be very difficult for them to withstand the pressure of an ancient divine beast." Moreover, 2 ancient divine beasts had appeared at the same time. However, these people were actually able to stand under such pressure and use the aura in their bodies to fight. Needless to say, she was very shocked. Xianyuan Mo's also frowned as if he could not understand how they could withstand the pressure of an ancient divine beast. Mo Chun stared at those people for a while and said, "These people all have the aura of the Black Lotus of Destruction on their bodies. Moreover, the Black Lotus Master left a strand of divine consciousness on them. It is the aura of the Black Lotus of Destruction and that strand of divine consciousness that allows them to withstand the pressure of the ancient divine beast." He paused and said, "He must have been prepared to use these people to exhaust your physical strength and spiritual aura so that he can kill you in one move." Hearing this, Fengjiu narrowed her eyes and said, "If that's the case, then it seems that we have to find help." After a long battle, They were not sure if they could still fight against the Black Lotus Master. However, since that was the case, she could call for help. Hearing this, Xianyuan Mose glanced at her. Imochen looked at her and asked in surprise, "Who else can you call for help here?" Feng Jiao curled the corners of her lips, and her brows were filled with confidence. "Imo-chun, don't forget that Imo-ze and I are both sovereigns. Our mental strength covers both territories. How difficult would it be for us to call for help?" Chapter 36:01. In the name of Feng Jiao, I request the assistance of all the experts. A cold voice that contained the pressure of a divine king spread out at that moment. Every word that came out of her mouth was condensed from the aura of spiritual energy. Every word grew larger and larger, and along with the powerful aura, they pierced through the sky one by one and spread out into the world. This scene shocked Xianyuan Mose and Imo-chun. This secret reading technique could pierce through the heavens and earth, spreading to every corner of the heavens and earth. It was said that it had been lost for many years. They never thought that they would see it in Feng Jiao's hands today. A white light gradually appeared in the east. The first rays of dawn dispelled the darkness of the night and brought light. At the same time, in various places in the upper realm, a black vortex transmission formation appeared in the sky. Feng Jiao's words were also transmitted from one of the vortexes. In the name of Feng Jiao, I request the assistance of all the experts. This sentence contained the spirit and might of a ruler of the heavens and earth. The clear and cold voice clearly reached the ears of all the experts. The moment they heard Feng Jiao's voice, all the experts who had received Feng Jiao's help were shocked and stood up abruptly. "It's the ghost, Dr. Feng Jiao. It's Feng Jiao. It's Feng Jiao's voice. The ghost doctor is requesting our help." All the experts stared at the vortex transmission formation in the sky with shining eyes. After handing over the matters of their clans, sects, and schools, they all rose into the sky and flew towards the vortex transmission formation in the sky. Voices that contained powerful spiritual energy were also transmitted from the experts' mouths. "The ghost doctor is in trouble. We will not shirk our duty. Feng Jiao has called. We will do our best to help. We will not shirk our duty. We will not shirk our duty. We will not shirk our duty." A sonorous and powerful voice resounded through the sky. Whether it was those who had received Feng Jiao's help, those who were acquainted with her, or those who had only heard of her name but had never seen her before, all of them soared into the sky at this moment and flew towards the teleportation vortex. Everyone heard Feng Jiao's voice. Lung Hua, Lung Shui, and the others naturally heard their master's voice as well. They looked at the whirlpool in the sky and saw the cultivators rushing towards the whirlpool one by one without hesitation, disappearing into the whirlpool in an instant. With a single order, all the heroes of the world surged forth. Master is truly worthy of being the Phoenix Master of the world. Du Fan walked forward with a fan in his hand and looked at the scene in the sky excitedly. Lung Hua looked at the scene in the sky. His gentle voice was firm as he said to everyone, "Master is in trouble. What are we waiting for? Let's go." As soon as his voice fell, he rose into the air and took the lead to head toward the vortex. "Let's go." Everyone looked at each other and shouted. In the next moment, they all followed Lung Hua towards the vortex in the sky and quickly jumped into the teleportation vortex. At the same time, when Luo Fei and the other three heard Feng Jiao's voice, their hearts shook. Without another word, they also headed towards the vortex in the sky. Even if their strength was not considered top-notch, they would naturally protect Feng Jiao with their lives if she was in trouble. Chapter 36:02. He tossed the wine cup behind him, flicked his robes, and stood up. His deep voice was full of vigor as he said, "It's rare for her to ask for help. How can I not go?" Zhuo Junyue put down the wine cup and stood up. His stoic face was expressionless as he glanced at Hun Yuanzi indifferently. "If you want to go, then go. Don't dawdle." As soon as he finished speaking, his gaze fell on the vortex that had appeared in the sky. He gathered his chi and soared into the air, heading towards the vortex. Stinking brat, wait for me! Hun Yuanzi shouted and hurriedly followed him. Mu Xin and CK, who were guarding the immortal road, had been ordered to guard the immortal road. When they heard their master's voice calling for experts from all directions, although they wanted to go and help, they didn't dare to leave without permission. Therefore, after a discussion, the two of them summoned their disciples and asked them to go and help. The disciples under the two had all interacted with Feng Nine before. Even if their master hadn't spoken, they would have reported to their master and gone to help after seeing so many experts heading towards the teleportation portal. Now that their master had spoken, they immediately agreed and quickly followed the sect master and the elders to the teleportation portal. After hearing Feng Jio's words, the people on the floating ground all rushed towards the vortex under Songqing's lead. The floating area was originally a place of exile, but it was also a place of death. The people living there were all extremely vicious and evil people, and they had all restrained themselves after submitting to Feng Jio. Now that the Phoenix Master had issued an order, they immediately rushed toward the vortex without any hesitation. In the sky, the experts who had passed through the vortex all reported their names when they came out of the teleportation vortex and then quickly joined the battle. Xinyuan Mo's and Mo Chen's eyes flashed as they looked at the experts who had appeared from the teleportation vortex. Although they were shocked, they also felt that it was normal for the experts from all directions to rush over once Feng Jio gave the order. This was because she wasn't just anyone. She was the ghost Dr. Feng Jio, the Phoenix Master of the world. Seeing the thousands of practitioners coming out of the teleportation vortex because of Feng Jio's words, the smile on the Black Lotus Master's face gradually disappeared and became extremely gloomy. This scene allowed him to see how Feng Jio had won the hearts of all the heroes in the world. This scene allowed him to see how all the heroes respected Feng Jio. These experts from all directions rushed over to help just because of her one word and command. It was all because of the ghost Dr. Feng Jio. At this moment, he finally understood why she dared to be so arrogant and confident. She was able to summon so many heroes just by using the name of Feng Jio. Since Feng Jio has summoned me, I have come to help as well. A deep voice came from the sky. The Black Tortoise Sovereign led his elite guards over from the vortex. With a wave of his hand, they quickly joined the battle. Seeing this, the Black Lotus Master could no longer remain calm. Seeing that the situation was gradually leaning towards Feng Jio, he no longer waited. Instead, the aura of the Black Lotus of Destruction surged from his body. Feng Jio, so what if you have the help of all the heroes? Today, the ancient green lotus in your body, as well as the lives of all of you, are mine. Chapter 36:03. The black airflow rolled forward like thick smoke and quickly swept towards Feng Jio, Xinyuan Mo's, and Mo Chun. The three of them did not dare to be careless when facing Lord Black Lotus. They quickly gathered their chi and flew in another direction. They were all experts who had reached the level of supreme gods. Moreover, they possessed an ancient aura. If they were to fight with Master Black Lotus, the airflow would be able to injure the people who had come to help. Therefore, they all pulled away from Master Black Lotus and lured him to a place further away from Master Black Lotus. Xinyuan Mo's held the Xinyuan sword in his hand. Feng Jio held the Qing Feng sword in his hand, and Mo Chun held a long sword that shone with a cold light. The three of them surrounded Lord Black Lotus from 3 different directions and attacked him from 3 different directions. Every attack carried fatal killing intent as they attacked Lord Black Lotus from 3 different directions. Saber light and sword shadows flashed, and the sharp sword chi whizzed through the air. The sword chi was so sharp that it seemed as though it could split the entire world apart. Feng Jio's flames and Xinyuan Mo's wind blades complemented each other and formed a destructive flaming airflow that whizzed towards Lord Black Lotus. Seeing the destructive flaming airflow whizzing towards him, Lord Black Lotus immediately threw out the long sword in his hand. The black long sword instantly transformed into countless identical black swords and formed a sword formation that rotated in front of him. As the countless black long swords rotated, the airflow in air was sucked into a ball and violently attacked the flaming airflow in front of him. Boom! The two powerful airflows collided with a loud bang, accompanied by countless sparks and black smoke in the sky. Raging flames burned and soared into the sky. The black smoke was like a mushroom cloud, surging layer by layer. It was also very terrifying. The powerful airflow also surged with the collision of the two airflows. Even the cultivators who were fighting in the sky hundreds of miles away were affected by the powerful airflow because they couldn't retreat in time and were sent flying. Puff! Blood-curdling screams could be heard in the sky along with the sound of blood spurting out. However, Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu didn't have the time to care about those people at all. The two of them rushed forward fiercely, and their two swords were filled with murderous intent as they charged towards the Black Lotus Lord. The Black Lotus Lord had absorbed the spiritual energy, battle aura, and hatred of the people under the sovereign of Tongtian's command. His dark and destructive aura was already very strong. Now that he saw the two ancient swords coming towards him, he squinted his eyes and sneered. The black fog in his hand attacked. When the black fog attacked, wisps of evil spirit aura suddenly rushed out and attacked Fengjiu and Xinyuan Mose. Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu could feel the strong resentment of the cold, evil spirit qi. Coupled with the destructive aura of the Black Lotus of Destruction, their swords were blocked. It was as if there was a powerful force at the tip of the swords that was fighting against them. Seeing this, Mo Chun put away the long sword in his hand and formed a complicated seal with his hands. Following the formation of the seal, a sacred light fiercely shot out from his hand and enveloped the sinister black baleful aura. Chapter 3604. What a good son of saint. I have underestimated you. The Black Lotus Lord stared at Mo Chun with a sinister gaze. He was surprised that Mo Chun was able to cleanse his qi of darkness. Initially, he did not take Mo Chun seriously. However, at this moment, he finally took this son of saints seriously. With a wave of his hand, a black fog formed into a wall and attacked Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu. However, his figure flashed and his black robe flapped. He stared at Mo Chun with a murderous gaze and reached out to grab Mo Chun's throat at lightning speed. When Mo Chun saw his attack coming towards him, he immediately retreated. Due to his opponent's speed being extremely fast, he was already right in front of Mo Chun's eyes. When Mo Chun's hand moved towards Mo Chun's throat, killing intent gushed forth. Mo Chun immediately extended his hand, and a long sword appeared in his hand. He gripped it tightly and switched from defense to offense. He had cultivated in the Saint Temple for a few years, and his strength had increased greatly. Although he was now at the level of a divine king, he was still capable of fighting against the Black Lotus Lord. In particular, the Saint technique that he cultivated could restrain the source of darkness. Naturally, he was not afraid of the Black Lotus Lord's attack. Moreover, Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu were here. He was not fighting alone. After exchanging a few blows with Mo Chun, the Black Lotus Lord was shocked. He did not expect that the Son of Saint's Saint technique would not be affected by his qi of Black Lotus. He wanted to get rid of Mo Chun first before dealing with Fengjiu and Xinyuan Mose. However, he did not expect Mo Chun to be more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. Thinking of this, he was moved. Since that was the case, he could only choose another person to deal with. Xinyuan Mose was injured earlier and had fought with him for so long. Even if Fengjiu and the others were here, Fengjiu's mind would definitely be in chaos if Xinyuan Mose attacked him first and got rid of him. At that time, he would take the opportunity to kill Mo Chun and take the Green Lotus in her body with half the effort. After making up his mind, he pretended to attack Mo Chun, but at the same time, he diverted some of his attention to Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu. When he saw that they were blocked by the black air, he immediately flipped his palm, and a gust of wind suddenly struck towards Mo Chun. The attack was fast and powerful. Although he did not use the qi of Black Lotus, Mo Chun who could not dodge in time, was sent flying. Pooh! The moment Emo-chan was sent flying, the blood in his body surged, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was unsteady as he retreated. When he saw the Black Lotus Lord circling around the black fog and attacking Fengjiu, he could not help but be shocked. He hurriedly shouted a warning. "Fengjiu, be careful." However, at that moment, after Fengjiu dispersed the black fog around him, he saw the Black Lotus Lord attack coming towards him. Just as he was about to meet the attack, a strange smile appeared on his face. He dodged to the side, flipped his palm, and condensed a long sword. He attacked Xianyuan Mose at a speed that was too fast to be heard. Mose! Fengjiu was shocked. He gathered all his spiritual power and rushed towards Xianyuan Mose. He wanted to protect Xianyuan Mose before the Black Lotus Lord's sword could reach him. "Ajio!" Xianyuan Mose shouted. He saw the black fog gradually condensing behind Fengjiu. The Black Lotus Lord, who was holding a long sword, stared at Fengjiu with a sinister smile. He raised the long sword in his hand and attacked Fengjiu. Chapter 3605. Swoosh! Swoosh! The two sword chis that carried the aura of death slashed towards them. However, at that moment, Emo-chan was so shocked that his heart sank as though it had fallen into an ice cellar. He stared blankly at the two sword chis that carried the aura of death as they slashed towards the flames and split them apart. However, Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mose were nowhere to be seen. At that moment, his heart seemed to have stopped beating. It was only when he saw a flash of light and saw Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mose appear on the other side of the flames that his heart started beating faster, and he heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that they were fine. He thought. Fengjiu pulled Xianyuan Mose a few meters back and steadied himself. Just now, when she used the flames to protect him, she pulled him into the space to avoid the two fatal attacks. She really didn't dare to imagine what would happen if there was no space for them to dodge at that moment. What would happen if the two deadly sword chi landed on their bodies? She took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. She glanced at the gloomy Black Lotus Master, then looked at Xianyuan Mose and asked, "How are you?" "I'm fine." Xianyuan Mose shook his head and said solemnly, "His strength has increased a lot. We can't let our guard down." "I know," she replied. She held the Qingfeng sword tightly in her hand and stared at the Black Lotus Lord. In the next moment, she and Xianyuan Mose charged towards the Black Lotus Lord. "Looks like you still have some secret treasures on you." The Black Lotus Lord stared eerily at Fengjiu, and his eyes were filled with excitement. Now, he knew that all the treasures on Fengjiu would be his. Not only the ancient green lotus, but the moment when the two of them disappeared was enough to let him know that Fengjiu still had a portable space on him. He raised his hand, and the black longsword flew towards Xianyuan Mose as though it had a life of its own. At the same time, he gathered the power of the Black Lotus in his palm and attacked Fengjiu. The black figure faced Fengjiu's Qingfeng sword without dodging. The wind from his palm was extremely ruthless, and every move was fatal. He aimed at Fengjiu's vital point. On the other side, Xianyuan Mose was entangled by the black aura formed by the longsword. The aura of the Black Lotus, which exuded an aura of death, shot out a sharp aura that was as sharp as a blade and slashed across Xianyuan Mose's body. It broke the aura around him and tore his robes. The black aura entered his body. It was only a wisp, but it was already bone-chilling and hair-raising. Countless wisps of black smoke enveloped him as though they were going to enter his body. When Emo-chan saw this, he couldn't care less about his heavy injuries. He immediately gathered his chi and rushed towards Xianyuan Mose. The chi in his body surged, and he struck out with his palm. A dazzling holy light flew out from his hand and shot towards the black smoke, dispersing it completely. "How are you? Can you still hold on?" In a flash, Emo-chan went forward and supported Xianyuan Mose, whose footsteps were a little messy. The moment he held his hand, he felt a gust of eerie aura enter his palm. He was shocked and immediately looked at him. "I'm fine." Xianyuan Mose pursed his lips, but his lips were slightly discolored. His face was also a little pale, but he was still holding on. Chapter 36:06. Let's get rid of him first. Xianyuan Mose interrupted him. He used his powerful cultivation to suppress the discomfort in his body and pushed Mo Chen away with the Xianyuan sword in one hand. He flew up again to help Fengjiu. Seeing this, Mo Chen retreated a few meters and sat cross-legged as if he was sitting on clouds. His lips moved slightly and his hands moved in front of him to form a complicated seal. Then he closed his hands and formed a lotus with his fingers, one above and one below. In an instant, a sacred light gushed out from his body. Unlike the sacred light that only covered his body previously, the sacred light from his body now shone like the sun, dispersing the chi of the black lotus in the air and purifying it. With the help of Mo Chen's sacred power, the Black Lotus Lord's strength was gradually weakened. Sensing this, Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu joined forces to kill him, not giving him a chance to breathe. The dark force that was originally devouring them was now gradually weakened by the holy light. The Black Lotus Lord narrowed his eyes and glanced at Mo Chen, then at Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu. His gaze went past them and landed on the cultivators from both sides who were fighting in the distance. He knew that if he didn't annihilate them today, then it would be very difficult for him to have the opportunity to take their lives in the future. Especially if he lost this battle, then Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu's reputation would resound throughout the 9 heavens. By then, he could imagine what would happen to him. Thinking of this, he narrowed his sinister eyes and fixed them on Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu. No matter what price he had to pay, he would not let these two live today. Immediately, he retreated abruptly and opened his arms. In the next moment, as he formed a seal with both hands, a black lotus the size of a fist floated from the top of his head. This is the Black Lotus of Destruction. Mo Chen could not help but exclaim when he saw the Black Lotus coming out of the Black Lotus Lord's body. He said to Fengjiu, "Destroy it. As long as we destroy it, the Black Lotus Lord will not be able to do anything evil again." Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu's eyes landed on the Black Lotus floating above the Black Lotus Lord's head. Their eyes flashed. This is the Black Lotus of Destruction? Was it this Black Lotus that brought about this series of disasters? Was it this fist-sized Black Lotus flower that bestowed the Black Lotus Lord with such extreme and dark powers? Fengjiu was slightly surprised because this Black Lotus was slightly smaller than the Green Lotus in her body. When the Black Lotus appeared, the Green Lotus in her body seemed to have sensed it, and the Green Lotus aura in her body also surged. That's right, this is the Black Lotus of Destruction. The Black Lotus Lord of Destruction stared at Fengjiu. "You want to destroy my Black Lotus? That's because you haven't truly experienced the supreme power of my Black Lotus." He stared at Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu and revealed a sinister smile. Other than the death aura of the Black Lotus, his body was also filled with a terrifying evil aura. As he summoned the Black Lotus, the dark power in his body seemed to have become stronger. The Black Lotus floating above his head released a powerful dark aura that suppressed the holy light on Mo Chen's body. Perhaps it was because the two forces were fighting each other, but the dark forces pushed against each other, causing Mo Chen to spit out a mouthful of blood. Pooh! Mo Chen. Chapter 36:07. Seeing that he was injured again and again, she felt very apologetic. If he had not helped them, he would not have been injured to this extent, and his vital energy would not have been depleted so severely. She turned her head to look at the Black Lotus, and saw that the Black Lotus was emitting a powerful dark aura that was spreading in the air. Other than where they were, it was also surging toward the place further away. She was a little anxious. If the aura of the Black Lotus were to spread further, she was afraid that it would harm the people who had come to help. However, before she could make a move, she heard the Black Lotus Lord's gaze sweep past Xianyuan Mose's face. He sneered, and in the next moment, his figure suddenly charged towards the two of them. A powerful airflow surged, and a black aura swept across the sky. It was so fast that it was like a whirlwind. However, when she saw the strange smile on the Black Lotus Lord's face, she was shocked. He grabbed at the air, and a powerful wind blade swept towards Xianyuan Mo's. She instinctively looked at Xianyuan Mo's, but only then did she realize that his expression was not right. His forehead was covered in cold sweat, and the color of his lips was not right. At this moment, it was as if he was enduring the discomfort in his body. She saw that he was holding the Xianyuan sword tightly in one hand, but his hand was trembling slightly. His deep and cold eyes were looking at the attack in front of him, but he did not show any signs of dodging. She suddenly felt a rush of hot blood rushing to her head, and she rushed towards him like a mad woman. "Get out of the way! Get out of the way!" Damn it! Why didn't she realize that something was wrong with him? Why was she so careless to think that he was really fine? He clearly did not even have the strength to dodge. His condition was very serious. What made her even more shocked was that the Black Lotus Lord seemed to have seen through this. He pretended to attack her, but when he attacked, he suddenly changed his direction and charged towards Xianyuan Mo's. He wanted to kill Mo's. He wanted to take his life. No, she would not allow anyone to hurt him. If anyone dared to kill him, she would make that person fall into the boundless hell. She would make sure that person would never be able to reincarnate. "Nine, don't come over." Xianyuan Mo's body was trembling. Due to the surge of spiritual power and the flow of genuine qi in his body, the qi of the Black Lotus that he had been suppressing was moving recklessly. It was flowing uncontrollably through every vein in his body, making him feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. It was as if all the strength in his body had been sucked out. He wanted to retreat, but he didn't have the strength to avoid the fatal blow. However, he didn't want Fengjiu to get hurt because of him. He forcefully circulated his qi, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale, and his body swayed as he fell. However, the Black Lotus Lord's attack did not miss because of his fall. Instead, the Black Lotus Lord's subsequent attack came crashing down on him. "No!" Fengjiu let out a heart-wrenching cry. When she saw the palm strike aimed at Xianyuan Mo's head, she increased her speed to the extreme. Originally, she wouldn't have been able to reach Xianyuan Mo's side in time, but now she flashed out like a beam of light. She was so fast that Mo Chun and Xianyuan Mo couldn't see her. Even the Black Lotus Lord couldn't see her. Bang! Chapter 3608. Fengjiu, Ajio. Mo Chen's cry of surprise and Xianyuan Mo's voice of disbelief rang out at the same time. The two of them only saw a red figure fly out like a kite with a broken string. A mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth and formed an arc in the air before splashing down. Fengjiu's figure also fell down, disappearing into the clouds and falling down. At this moment, a ray of light flashed, and Lao Bai rushed out from the space. His dragon-like body suddenly swooped down and caught the falling Fengjiu. "Master, master," Lao Bai called out anxiously. When he turned around and saw her pale face and blood flowing out of her mouth, he was anxious and panicked. But when he looked up, he saw Xianyuan Mo's also falling down. He quickly flew out to catch him. "Yama Lord, how did you get injured like this? How are you? How's my master?" Lao Bai suppressed the other contracted beasts in the space. After all, this was a battle in the sky. If the contracted beasts in the space did not have the ability to fly, it was useless for them to come out. He knew that the enemy his master faced this time was very strong, but he did not expect that she would be injured like this. Xianyuan Mo's face was pale as he held Fengjiu's hand. Seeing that she had fainted, he could not help but call out in a trembling voice, "Ajio? Ajio, wake up!" Fengjiu, who had fainted because of the attack, faintly heard Xianyuan Mo's voice. She forced herself to open her heavy eyelids. When Xianyuan Mo's face reflected in her eyes, the corners of her mouth twitched, revealing a relieved smile. "It's good that you're okay." Her voice was soft and weak, but it heavily crashed into Xianyuan Mo's heart, causing his heart to clench tightly. He reached out and hugged her. His deep voice was filled with affection and heartache. "Silly girl, in my heart, your life is more important than mine. I only have meaning in my life if you're alive." Hearing this, Fengjiu smiled. She smiled happily. She wanted to tell him that in her heart, he was also more important than her life. Even if she had to give up her life for him, she would not hesitate. But because of the heavy injuries from that attack, she wanted to speak, but she did not have the strength. Her internal organs were heavily injured. Even the slightest movement would aggravate her internal injuries, causing her face to become even paler. "Ha ha ha, Fengjiu, I didn't expect you two to be such an affectionate couple. You can even disregard your own lives for each other. Very good, very good, very good. Ha ha." The Black Lotus Lord's wild and sinister laughter spread through the sky, causing the air to tremble. His laughter suddenly stopped, and his sinister and bloodthirsty eyes stared at Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mo's, revealing a strange light. "Killing you directly is not enough to appease the anger in my heart, but I can let you experience a life worse than death, a heart-wrenching pain." His voice paused, and he stared at the pale-faced Fengjiu with a sinister smile. "Now, you two are like lambs waiting to be slaughtered in front of me. If I want to kill you, I only need to move my fingers. Since that's the case, I'll let you see the scene of your beloved man being killed by me in front of you. How about it?" Chapter 3609. Looking at the Black Lotus Lord's palm that was surrounded by air currents and staring at Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mo's, and Mo Chan shouted in shock. "Let's go! Let's go!" Senior White suddenly recovered from his shock, and he was shocked when he saw this scene. He immediately wanted to leave, but unexpectedly, right when he was about to leap forward with the two people on his back, he heard a gloomy voice resound from behind him. "Go? Ha 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 ha! Today, who can escape from this Lord's palm?" As soon as he finished speaking, a black air current instantly formed a black air shield in the space, trapping them inside and making it impossible for them to escape. Labai did not believe it and tried to charge forward. However, he was heavily repelled by the air current and only managed to stabilize himself after retreating a few meters. At this moment, he was really anxious. "What should we do? What should we do? We can't escape." "Ah!" Senior White exclaimed in shock. He saw that his body had been bound by a black aura, and he couldn't even move, let alone flee. "Ha ha 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 ha!" The Black Lotus Lord raised his head and laughed loudly. The black air current in his palm turned and sucked towards Xianyuan Mo's. Xianyuan Mo's was unable to exert any strength due to the chaotic Black Lotus air current in his body. When Fengjiu saw this scene, he was also very anxious. However, she was severely injured by that attack and could not hide in the space with them. She could only watch the scene unfold before her eyes. "Master! Master!" The Azure Dragon and the Fire Phoenix seemed to have sensed the danger they were in and flew over from afar. However, when they suddenly rushed forward to save them, they were blocked by the powerful black enchantment. Bang! Bang! The two figures collided violently, but it only caused the black air current on the enchantment to surge a little. It was like a small stone being thrown into the water surface. After a while, it returned to normal. "Oomph. Even if you're ancient mythical beasts, you can forget about breaking my Black Lotus enchantment," the Black Lotus Lord said sinisterly. He glanced at the two mythical beasts with bloodthirsty eyes. "Just stay there and watch. Watch how your master dies in my hands." The suction force in the Black Lotus Lord's hand was sucking towards Xianyuan Mo's. However, Xianyuan Mo's was held back by Lao Bai's tail. Seeing this, Mo-chan gritted his teeth. He looked deeply at Fengjiu and ignored his injuries. He raised his chi and rushed towards the Black Lotus Lord. He forcefully interrupted the Black Lotus Lord's sucking towards Xianyuan Mo's. When he saw this scene, Mo-chan gritted his teeth. He took a deep look at Fengjiu's eyes and looked. He ignored his serious injuries to himself and ignored his injuries. He raised his chi to the Black Lotus Lord's hand. "With my holy power, break the dark formation. Radiance. Purify. You're in the way. The Black Lotus Lord's bloodthirsty voice could be heard. He gathered the power of darkness in his hand. He no longer aimed it at Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu. Instead, he aimed it at Mo Chun, who was dressed in white, who was standing in front of him. Powerful holy light radiated from Mo Chin's body and gradually weakened the Black Lotus enchantment. Behind him, the Black Lotus Lord's black aura was also slowly devouring the holy light on his body and corroding his body. Mo Chun. Chapter 36:10. Xianyuan Mose pursed his lips. His heart felt as if it had been struck by a heavy object, stirring up waves of shock. He looked at the scene in shock. He did not expect that Mo Chan would go to such an extent for them. He was using his life in exchange for a chance at survival. As all the saint energy in his body turned into saint light and dissipated, his body gradually became transparent and dissipated bit by bit. As he watched his body turn into specks of holy light and dissipate bit by bit, his face was still as gentle and clear as before. That gentle smile that was like moonlight bloomed on his fairy-like face. He looked at Fengjiu with a bit of gentleness, reluctance, and apology. The longing in his eyes, the yearning in his eyes, and the deep affection that had been hidden in the depths of his heart finally revealed itself at the moment when his life was about to fade away. That look, which seemed to have been 1,000 years old, fiercely crashed into Fengjiu's heart. She looked at him in a daze, her eyes filled with disbelief. That familiar look, that look that had been hidden in the depths of her memory, that look that seemed to have happened 1,000 years ago, at this moment, appeared clearly in her eyes, once again reflected in her eyes. This is impossible. As she mumbled these words, it was as if a storm was raging in her heart. Shock, astonishment, disbelief filled her heart at that moment. However, when she saw Mo Chin's final glance before her life was about to fade away, she felt her mind go blank. A tear fell silently from the corner of her eye. She opened her mouth and moved her lips. Then a single word came out of her mouth in a soft and inaudible voice. Chun. Mo Chun used up all his vital energy and saint energy. His body gradually dissipated from the bottom to the top, turning into spots of saint light. His gaze had not left Fengjiu since just now. At this moment, when he saw the drop of terror in her eyes, saw her moving her lips, and the inaudible word that came out of her mouth, his gaze softened. His entire person also disappeared into the air with that final smile on his face. It was a soft word, almost inaudible, but he knew that she was calling out Chun, not Chun. She recognized him. She still remembered him. Even though they were separated by a lifetime, she still recognized him. In her previous life, they were not fated to be together. In this life, their fates were intertwined. He was born because of her and died because of her. But as long as he saw her happy, as long as he saw her living well, he had no regrets. He wished that he could always watch over her, always protect her, watch over her children, watch her happy and carefree. But in the end, he could not be by her side, not even if he watched from afar. No. Her sorrowful voice was filled with unconcealable pain. She lay on Lao Bai's body with her hands tightly clenched into fists. Accompanied by her sorrowful cry, the life force of a green lotus surged out of her body and shot towards a place where Mo Chun had disappeared like a meteor. At that moment, a faint golden light appeared amidst the specks of holy light. It appeared from where Mo Chun had dissipated and floated in front of Fengjiu. Golden lotus seed. Tears welled up in Fengjiu's eyes. Her vision blurred as she looked at the lotus seed that was emitting a golden light. This golden lotus seed was the one she had given to Mo Chun. Chapter 36:11. Xianyuan Mose watched as Mo Chun disappeared into the air, leaving only a golden lotus seed in Fengjiu's hand. His eyes flickered as he looked at Fengjiu. Just now, He had also noticed that the word she had called out in a very low voice was different from how she usually addressed Imo-chan. When Imo-chan heard her say that word, the expression on her face and the smile on her face told him that there was something between them that he did not know. At that moment, he thought of something that Fengjio had mentioned before. It was something that happened in her previous life and a man called Chun. Seeing her so sad and sorrowful, his heart ached. If he was stronger, perhaps he would not have to face such a scene of life and death. He watched as Imo-chan's vital energy dissipated, and he used his saint power to break the boundary of the Black Lotus. He watched as the Fire Phoenix and the Green Dragon attacked the Black Lotus Lord and opened a door for them to live. He gathered his emotions and held Fengjio's hand, saying, "We can't stay here for long. Imo-chan is already dead. We can't let him down. Let's go." As he spoke, a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The feeling of being occupied by the Black Lotus energy was excruciating. It was as if a sharp knife was flowing through his body and piercing into his bones. At this moment, although Fengjio was still lying on White's back, the green lotus energy in her body was rapidly cultivating her body. She held the lotus seed in her hand. Her sorrowful mood was pulled back by Xianyuan Mo's words. Looking at Xianyuan Mo, who looked extremely pale, and seeing that he was suppressing the black lotus energy in his body, her sorrowful mood gradually calmed down. Imo-chan was gone, but Mose was still alive. She could not let anything happen to him. She could not allow the people around her to die one by one. Eat the elixir at your waist." Fengjio's voice softened, but her words were still weak. Xianyuan Mo was stunned. When he heard her words, he remembered the elixir at his waist. Thus, he obeyed her and took the elixir. He broke the wax seal on the outside and handed the golden elixir hidden in the wax seal to her lips. "Ajio, you're badly injured. Eat it." Fengjio looked away and said, "The power of the green lotus in my body is already healing my internal injuries. I don't need this elixir. Hurry and eat it." Seeing this, Xianyuan Mo swallowed the golden elixir. He glanced at the green dragon and the fire who was fighting the Black Lotus Lord. He said to Fengjio, "Let's leave this place first." "Okay." Fengjio nodded. With a wave of her hand, she kept the golden lotus seed in her space. Xianyuan Mo reached out to help her up. However, at this moment, a strong gust of wind came from behind. The strong gust of wind blew him off White's back. "Ha ha ha ha! I said that none of you can leave today." The Black Lotus Lord's bloodthirsty voice was heard. He dodged the attacks of the Green Dragon and the Fire Phoenix. The black gust of wind came like a whirlpool and pulled Xianyuan Mo into the whirlpool. Mo. Chapter 36:12. "No, come back. Mo's come back." Her voice was filled with panic. She wanted to pull Xianyuan Mo's back, but the black air current had swept him away. Lao Bai was also afraid of the chi of the Black Lotus, so he quickly brought her away from the black vortex. He was afraid that she would be sucked in as well. The Azure Dragon and the Fire Phoenix were shocked. They did not expect the Black Lotus Lord to be able to take advantage of that moment to sweep Yama Lord into the black vortex. They felt a chill in their hearts when they thought of how terrifying the Black Lotus Lord was. If anything happened to him, they did not dare to imagine what would happen to Fengjio. Ha ha ha. Fengjio, just wait and see. Watch how your beloved man dies in this monarch's hands. The Black Lotus Lord mobilized the chi of the Black Lotus. The Black Lotus spun above his head, and the black chi it emitted grew stronger and stronger. Xianyuan Mo, on the other hand, did not make a sound. He was wrapped in the black whirlpool and did not see anything. "If he dies, I want you to be buried with him. Your soul will never be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation. You will never be able to reincarnate." Fengjio's cold voice sounded like a ghost. It was so cold that it pierced the bones of the Black Lotus Lord. His words were like an oath. The coldness and murderous intent in his words shocked the Black Lotus Lord. His heart trembled involuntarily at that moment. However, When he calmed himself down and saw Fengjiu lying on the back of the contracted beast, he sneered. You want me to be buried with him? You want my soul to never be able to enter this cycle of reincarnation and never be able to reincarnate? With your current strength? What a fool's dream. He snorted coldly and narrowed his eyes. He condensed an air blade in his palm and slammed it towards the vortex. No one heard Xianyuan Mo's voice. Instead, the azure dragon roared because of this attack. In the next moment, there was a flash of light, and it turned into a beam of light that shot towards the vortex and returned to Xianyuan Mo's body. Fengjiu's eyes were bloodshot when she saw this. She clenched her fists tightly, and blood seeped out from her palms. She closed her eyes and did not want to see this scene. The Fire Phoenix did not dare to delay. She attacked the Black Lotus Lord with flames and flapped her wings in an attempt to disperse the vortex. When she saw that the Black Lotus Lord was still activating his Black Lotus aura, she immediately swooped down and attacked him like a sharp arrow. Get lost! The Black Lotus Lord waved his hand, and a powerful force surged out, slapping the Fire Phoenix away. Roar! The Fire Phoenix let out a cry, and its body flew out like a wheel of fire. It rolled more than 10 meters away before stopping. However, because of that attack, its body was injured. Its body was cut several times by that powerful force. Blood dripped down its feathers and merged into the flames. Xianyuan Mo's, go to hell. The Black Lotus Lord's hands surged, and a black aura surged in his hands. He was ready to attack Xianyuan Mo's and take his life. However, at this moment, the spiritual aura of Fengjiu, who was lying on Lao Bai's back, surged. She was wrapped in a green light, and she jumped up from Lao Bai's back and soared into the sky. Those who hurt me die. Chapter 36:13. Just as the Black Lotus Lord was about to attack Xianyuan Mo's, who was trapped in the whirlpool, he saw Fengjiu, who was lying on the ground on the verge of death, suddenly regain all her strength. She was like a sharp sword that had broken through bamboo. She attacked the Black Lotus Lord with an overwhelming murderous aura. Her life origin flame appeared on her body at that moment. The aura and pressure of the sovereign of heaven and earth were completely released at this moment. The terrifying murderous aura mixed with the flames on her body, causing the flames to turn into sharp blades that could take away one's life. The Black Lotus Lord was so shocked that he quickly retreated. However, no matter how fast he was, he could not outrun Fengjiu, whose spiritual power had surged. The chaotic battle on that side gradually came to an end. Everyone rushed over, but because of that powerful and terrifying aura, they didn't dare to approach. They could only watch from afar. Thus, they saw a shocking scene that they would never forget in their lives. They saw Fengjiu's figure turn into a sea of blazing flames at that moment. The crimson flames roared, but they could not find her at all. The powerful pressure of a divine king together with the ancient aura permeated the area. Even though they were not close, they found it difficult to breathe. In the next moment, as the Black Lotus Lord retreated step by step, the blazing flames surrounded him. They could only vaguely see a sharp sword aura mixed with the flames slashing down from above. Ah! A shrill voice sounded at that moment. The blazing flames and the black aura of the Black Lotus mixed together, as if they were competing to see who was more powerful. Ah! Fengjiu! Fengjiu! I'm going to kill you! I'm going to kill you! A shrill voice filled with hostility sounded from the flames. No one could see Fengjiu's figure. They could only see the flames surrounding the Black Lotus burning more and more fiercely. The black aura gradually dissipated at that moment. Amidst the flames, the figure of the Black Lotus Lord appeared before everyone's eyes as the black aura dissipated. His entire body was engulfed in raging flames, and he was screaming miserably. The Black Lotus of Destruction that was originally floating above his head seemed to have been slashed by a sword and gradually split into two halves. The lotus petals gradually disappeared as the flames burned, and what appeared was a black lotus seed. No one noticed that one of the cultivators mixed in with the crowd was currently staring excitedly at the black lotus seed. Some of the others were looking at the black lotus seed, while others were looking at the figure burning in the raging flames. His body was being burned to ashes bit by bit, but his spirit was still tightly locked in the flames. Everyone could not help but gulp when they saw the Black Lotus Lord's physical body being burned to ashes while his soul was still locked in the flames. Their eyes were filled with shock and horror. They did not expect Fengjiu's life origin flame to be so powerful. The life origin flame could burn the physical body of a God King expert and even lock his soul tightly. What is she trying to do? Fengjiu, I'm going to kill you. Kill you. Chapter 36:14. No, you can't do this. No. The sharp voice was filled with unconcealable fear and shock. At this moment, he finally panicked. He did not panic when his physical body was being burned. Even when his divine soul was being roasted by the flames, he did not panic. However, at this moment he panicked. He struggled with all his might, trying to escape from the flames. However, no matter how hard he struggled, he could not escape from the flames. At this moment, he finally understood how terrifying her natal heavenly fire was. He finally understood his current situation. However, it was all too late. With my blood, I mark the ground as a curse. With my name, I destroy your divine soul. I, Fengjiu, want you to never enter the cycle of reincarnation. Your divine soul will be destroyed between heaven and earth. You will never be reincarnated. The cold voice seemed to contain an ancient aura as it came from the flames. As her voice rang out, everyone saw her figure gradually appear in the flames. An ancient and mysterious mark was formed in the flames. When they heard the cold voice reverberating in the sky, everyone's hearts suddenly trembled. Destroy his divine soul and mark the ground as a curse. Fengjiu, she had activated an ancient secret technique. She vowed to make the Black Lotus Lord unable to enter the cycle of reincarnation. She wanted his divine soul to be destroyed between heaven and earth, never to be reincarnated. If this curse succeeded, the Black Lotus Lord's existence would be erased between heaven and earth. His divine soul would not have the slightest chance to escape to any corner of this world. Just as they were in a daze, the flames in front of them soared into the sky. The Black Lotus Lord and the Black Lotus seed that was still floating above his head rose into the air and burned in the flames. Fengjiu, I won't let you off. I won't let you off. The mournful screams grew weaker and weaker. As the ancient and mysterious mark formed in Fengjiu's hand, a red ray of light attacked the Black Lotus Lord's divine soul. In the next moment, the Black Lotus Lord's divine soul dissipated in the air with a bang. It was completely devoured by the flames, leaving no trace behind. At this moment, Fengjiu also spat out a mouthful of blood. The flames on her body dissipated and disappeared without a trace. Her strength was also slowly dropping from the godly king rank. The spiritual aura from her body seemed to be unstoppable. Master, Fengjiu, ghost doctor, cries of alarm rang out. When everyone saw that Fengjiu's strength had plummeted, they all turned pale with fright and quickly rushed forward. Huafeng, who was in the air, cried out in alarm and quickly flew forward to catch her falling body. However, she turned around and ignored her plummeting cultivation. Her red figure flew to the other side. Fengjiu caught the falling Xianyuan Mo's. Her heart ached when she saw his sleeping face. She ignored her own body and placed her hand on Xianyuan Mo's wrist. When she checked his condition, tears fell from her eyes. Wake up. Don't sleep anymore. Chapter 36:15. Just as everyone was worried about Xianyuan Mo's and Fengjiu and rushed forward, two of them were staring at the Black Lotus seed that was still suspended in midair. The Black Lotus Lord's soul had been destroyed, and the Black Lotus seed had become an ownerless item. The two of them took advantage of the fact that everyone's attention was on Feng Jiao and Xianyuan Mo's and rushed toward the Black Lotus Seed. Both of them sensed the other's surprise and attacked at the same time. The slender one was obviously weaker than the other. In a flash, the other person grabbed the slender one's neck and grabbed the Black Lotus Seed with lightning speed. Ha 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 ha! The Black Lotus of Destruction has finally fallen into my hands. Ha 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 ha! It's good that the Black Lotus Lord and the Sovereign of Skir each died. Ha 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 ha! He lifted his head and laughed loudly. It was wanton and cold. His robe was lifted up, revealing the black robe underneath. He held the Black Lotus Seed in one hand and strangled the person in his hand with the other. That person struggled, and the black cloak covering her head fell down, revealing her original face. This person was Yun Shueshin. Let go of me. Yun Shueshin struggled and grabbed the demon lord's hand that was strangling her neck. Her face was flushed red because she could not breathe. However, with her strength, how could she be a match for the demon lord? She could not escape from the demon lord's grip. Oh no, the demon lord has taken the Black Lotus. Everyone was shocked. Only now did they see that the Black Lotus Seed was in the demon master's hand. No one would have thought that the demon master would be so bold as to mix in with them. Moreover, he had restrained his demonic aura so that no one could detect his existence. Everyone's hearts sank when they thought of the destructive power and damage that the Black Lotus had caused. We can't let the Black Lotus Seed fall into the demon lord's hands. Quickly get the Black Lotus Seed back. It was unknown who shouted, but everyone immediately rushed forward and surrounded the demon master. However, the demon master sneered sinisterly, and his gaze landed on Feng Jiao, who was staring at the unconscious Xianyuan Mo's. Feng Jiao, we'll meet again in the future. A black vortex appeared behind him and sucked him in. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared from everyone's sight. Feng Jiao did not look at the demon lord. Her eyes were fixed on Xianyuan Mo's, as if Xianyuan Mo's was the only one left in the world. No one could attract her attention, and nothing could attract her attention. In her eyes, there was only him who was still alive. Everyone turned to look at Feng Jiao, only to see her spitting out a mouthful of blood. Finally, she couldn't hold on any longer and fell to the ground. Master! Feng Jiao! Master! Lung Hua and the others were in a mess, and hurriedly rushed forward to catch her and Xianyuan Mo's. Fan Lin hurriedly rushed to Feng Jiao and Xianyuan Mo's side, and after checking their pulse, his expression changed drastically. Quick, bring Master and the others back. Seeing them leave quickly, the Fire Phoenix turned into a ray of light and returned to Feng Jiao's body. Everyone followed. Chapter 36:16. Half a month later, at the Feng Manor in 100 River City. How is it? Is Master feeling better today? When will she wake up? Du Fan and the others were gathered in the courtyard. When they saw Fan Lin come out of Master's room, they hurriedly went forward to ask him. Fan Lin looked at everyone with a solemn expression and didn't say anything for a while. How is Master? Say something. How is Feng Jiao? When will she wake up? Everyone asked anxiously. At this time, Guanxilin brought Feng Sanyuan and Feng Shao into the courtyard. When they saw them, everyone was about to greet them, but they were stopped by Feng Sanyuan. He was travel-worn and his face was full of anxiety. It was obvious that he had rushed here in a hurry. He strode forward and asked, How is Feng girl? Where is she? And Moze, how is he? Are they all okay? When the news reached them, the battle had already ended. They only found out later that something had happened to them, and it was very serious. After hearing the news, he, Feng Shao, and Guanxilin quickly rushed over to see what had happened. How is Xiao Jiao? Where is she? Feng Shao also hurriedly asked, his eyes full of worry. Fan Lin, how are Xiao Jiao and Moze? What about the two of them? Guanxilin also asked. The message from the communication jade tablet only said that Mo Chun had died. Xianyuan Mo's and Feng Jiao were unconscious. He didn't know how they were doing. Seeing that they had arrived, Fan Lin said, I still know a bit about Master's condition. I've been helping Master recuperate. As for Yama Lord, his condition is more serious than Master's. I'm afraid we can only wait for Master to wake up before we can think of a way to treat him. Master is here, Lung Hua said as he led them into the room to see Feng Jiu. When they entered the room and saw Feng Jiu lying unconscious on the bed with a pale face, the three of them couldn't help but feel their hearts clench. Feng Senyuan's eyes were filled with tears. He walked to the bedside and held Feng Jiu's hand. He choked with sobs as he called out, Feng girl, grandfather has come to see you." Looking at his weak granddaughter lying on the bed, looking at her pale and bloodless face, seeing that she no longer called him grandfather with a smile like she used to, Feng Sanyuan shed tears of heartache. This child had shouldered so many responsibilities with her slender and tender shoulders. Step by step, she had reached her current position. Every step she took was not easy. However, she had suffered so much. Now that she was married, she had to go through such a thing. Thinking of Xianyuan Mose, who they didn't know if he was still alive, Feng Sanyuan wiped his tears and patted her hand. "Feng girl, you have to wake up quickly. Mose is still waiting for you to treat him. We're all waiting for you to wake up. Feng girl, wake up when you've slept enough. Don't sleep anymore." Hearing these words, Feng Zhao's eyes couldn't help but redden. He looked at his weak and pale daughter on the bed. He only knew that something was stuck in his throat, and he couldn't say a word. The three of them stayed in the room for a while and talked by the bed for a while. Only then did they go to see Xianyuan Mose in the next room. Finally, they came to the courtyard and asked Fan Lin, "How are they? Is there any way to wake them up?" Chapter 36:17. Hearing this, everyone was stunned for a moment and did not react for a while. After a while, they came back to their senses and their faces were filled with surprise. "She's pregnant? She's pregnant? This is a good thing." When Feng Sanyuan and Feng Xiao heard this, they looked at Fan Lin's solemn expression. Their originally joyous mood also became solemn. Feng Xiao opened his mouth and asked in a deep voice, "Fan Lin, is it because it's not a good time for her to be pregnant?" Fan Lin nodded. "Master's body is very weak now, and her strength has fallen from the Divine King level to the Immortal Venerable level. She has used up a lot of her spiritual energy, and she has not recovered from her internal injuries. Now that she is pregnant, I don't dare to use many medicines." He lowered his head in shame. "It's my medical skills that are not good enough. If Master wakes up, I will know the best medicine to use." "What do you mean by how to use medicine?" Just as they were talking, a voice was heard. When they heard the voice, they turned around and saw a gray-robed elder stroking his beard as he walked in. Beside him were Monarch Black Tortoise and Hao. "I brought Hao to see Feng Jiu and the rest. We happened to meet the Medicine King, so we came together," Sovereign Xuanwu said and smiled at everyone. As soon as he finished speaking, Lung Hua, Fan Lin, and the rest couldn't help but look at the Medicine King in surprise. They hurriedly went forward and said, "Greetings, Medicine King." "Medicine King, you came just in time. My mistress, Fan Lin explained the situation to him and said, "Now that Master has not woken up, I don't dare to use medicine casually." "Yes, it's right not to use medicine casually if you're not sure." The Medicine King nodded. "Medicine King, this is my master's grandfather, and this is my master's father." Lung Hua went forward and introduced them briefly, then said to Feng Sanyuan and Feng Xiao, "The Medicine King is my master's teacher. When Master and Yama Lord were cultivating in the Medicine King Valley, it was the Medicine King who gave them pointers." Hearing this, Feng Sanyuan and Feng Xiao cupped their hands and bowed. "Greetings, Medicine King. We didn't know what to do. Now that you are here, we can finally rest assured. Let me take a look at them first." As the Yaowang spoke, he motioned to Lung Hua and Fan Lin. The two of them led the way and invited him into the room to take Feng Jiu's pulse. In order not to disturb the diagnosis, only Lung Hua, Fan Lin, Feng Sanyuan, and Feng Xiao followed them into the room. Lung Shuang was guarding the room. When he saw them enter, he bowed to them and stood quietly to the side. Lung Hua moved a chair for Yaowang to sit down, and then he retreated to the side to watch. The Medicine King placed his hand on Fengjiu's wrist and stroked his beard with one hand. His eyes narrowed. Not long after, he retracted his hand and glanced at Fanlin. It's not easy for you to sense her pregnancy pulse. Fanlin bowed slightly and said, Fanlin still had a lot to learn. He knew that his master's pregnancy pulse was very weak. After all, it had only been a short time. If he hadn't checked his master's pulse every day, he probably wouldn't have been able to detect that his master was pregnant. The Medicine King nodded and looked at the pale Fengjiu. He said, her body has consumed a lot of energy. If she doesn't take care of herself, it will be difficult to keep the baby. Fortunately, you didn't use medicine carelessly, and fortunately, this old man came. Chapter 36:18. The Medicine King stroked his beard and stood up, saying, Don't worry. I will do my best to protect her child. You have to take good care of her here. Nothing can happen to her. I will go and see how Xianyuan Mose is doing. I will give them a prescription when I get back. Thank you, Medicine King. Feng Sanyuan and Feng Xiao hurriedly thanked him and accompanied him to Xianyuan Mose's place. Meanwhile, Lung Shuang remained in the room to take care of her. After seeing them come out, Monarch Xuanwu said to Du Fan and the others, Hao Er wants to see his mother. You see, Hao Er, who had been standing next to Monarch Xuanwu, pursed his lips and did not speak. He just stared at the room with reddened eyes. When he heard Monarch Xuanwu's words, he could not help but look up at Du Fan and the others. Du Fan saw this and said to Hao Er, Then you go in by yourself. Lung Shuang is inside. You just go in and take a look. Don't disturb Master. Okay. Hao Er responded and walked into the room. The door was carefully pushed open. Lung Shuang looked at the door and saw Hao Er walk in with red eyes. Aunt Shuang, how's my mother? Hao Er asked softly as he walked towards the bed with light footsteps. When he saw his mother lying quietly on the bed, the tears that he had been holding back finally fell uncontrollably. Mother, Hao Er is back. Mother, Hao Er will never leave again. Hao Er wants to stay by Mother's side and accompany Mother. The little one held Fengjiu's hand as tears fell. He suppressed his cries, not daring to cry too loudly and disturb her. Hao Er felt very sad when he saw his mother, who used to smile gently at him, lying motionless on the bed with a pale face. He only found out recently that his father and mother had sent him back to stay with his father because they were worried that he would be affected and that they would not be able to take good care of him. However, he did not know why they said that his father and mother were seriously injured after not seeing them for a few days. Now that he saw his mother lying on the bed with a pale face, he felt sad and panicked. What if Mother does not wake up? What if Mother keeps sleeping like this? Don't cry. The Medicine King will cure Master. Lung Shuang comforted him softly. She squatted down and took out a handkerchief to wipe Hao Er's tears, saying, Did you forget what your mother said? Boys can't cry easily. But Mother, Lung Shuang looked at her master on the bed and said firmly, Master is just tired. She will wake up when she has enough sleep. Hearing this, Hao Er wiped away his tears and said, I won't disturb Mother. I will be good and quietly accompany Mother. I won't go back. I want to stay and take care of Mother. Seeing Hao Er like this, Lung Shuang showed a gratified smile. Hao Er is so obedient. On the other side, the Medicine King took Xianyuan Mose's pulse. His expression instantly became serious. He shook his head and sighed. His condition is more serious than Fengjiu's. I can help Fengjiu recover, but I can't do anything about Xianyuan Mose. Hearing this, Feng Sanyuan, Feng Xiao, and the others' hearts became heavy. They all knew how much the two of them valued each other. No matter what happened to one of them, the other was afraid. Chapter 36:19. The King of Medicine sighed softly. He shook his head and stood up. His condition is complicated. Other than his internal injuries, the most serious and difficult thing to deal with is the Black Lotus Qi. The bone-chilling Black Lotus Qi has taken over his main meridians. Now, his meridians are all filled with that Qi. It will be difficult to get rid of it. He stroked his beard and continued. But speaking of which, his situation is rather strange. The Black Lotus Chi is so powerful that even if he's a god king, he'll probably struggle to resist it, especially after he's so heavily injured. It's impossible for him to survive, but his meridians are fine. The Black Lotus Chi is unable to invade his meridians, so he's only unconscious now. He hasn't died yet. Hearing this, Fan Lin said, when Master caught the Yama Lord, he did not care about his own body and transferred life to the Yama Lord. These days, I have been checking on the Yama Lord's body every day. I feel that it is the life of the Green Lotus that is protecting the Yama Lord's heart meridians. And that's right. His heart is indeed surrounded by vitality. That should be the vitality of the ancient Green Lotus. Aside from that, the reason why he's still alive is probably because he took some life-saving pill. As the Medicine King spoke, he glanced at Xianyuan Mose, who was lying on the bed. With his condition, we will have to wait for Fengjiu to wake up and treat him himself. Her medical skills are above mine. Her medicinal skills are also better than mine. Let's treat Fengjiu first. As he spoke, he walked out and called, Fan Lin, come with me. After I prescribe the medicine, you will boil it yourself. Yes, Fan Lin replied. After bowing to Feng, Sanyuan, and the others, he hurriedly followed the King of Medicine out. Not long after the King of Medicine and Fan Lin left, Hauer came over. Once he entered the room, Hauer bowed to the two of them. Great-grandfather, grandfather, Hauer is here to see father. Go. Feng Xiao gestured for him to step forward. Hauer walked up to the bedside and looked at the unconscious Xianyuan Mose. He called out softly, Father, Hauer is back. Hauer just want to see mother, but she didn't wake up. Annie Shuang said that mother is tired and will wake up when she has a good rest. Father, are you tired too? Will you wake up after you've rested enough? Hearing the child's words, Feng Xiao couldn't help but wipe away his tears. He walked forward and patted Hauer's shoulder. Let's go. Grandpa will take you out. Let's not disturb your father's rest. He will wake up when he's done resting. Yes, Grandpa. Hauer will be obedient. Hauer will also help take care of father and mother. He raised his little face and looked at Feng Xiao seriously as he spoke. The little person's eyes were red because he had cried earlier. Hauer is so obedient. Feng Xiao patted his head in relief and exchanged glances with his father. Then, he said to Hui Lang, who was standing guard by the bedside, Take good care of Mose. He will definitely wake up. With that, they took the child and walked out. Hui Lang stood quietly by the bedside. He didn't have his usual vigor. If he didn't speak, he would be like air. When he heard Feng Xiao's words, he lowered his head slightly. After they left, he quietly wiped away the tears at the corners of his eyes. Chapter 36:20. With the Medicine King here, Fan Lin, who didn't dare to use medicine recklessly, finally let out a sigh of relief. After the Medicine King gave the prescription, he prepared the medicine and personally went to brew it. After the Medicine King told Fan Lin some things to pay attention to, he had them arrange for a quiet place to prepare some medicine for Fengjiu. In the evening, when Fan Lin delivered the medicine to the courtyard, it was taken by Feng Sanyuan. This is for Feng girl to drink. Feng Sanyuan sniffed it and felt an unpleasant smell enter his nose. He couldn't help but frown. This is the medicine brewed according to the Medicine King's prescription. It's for master to drink. Fan Lin said, seeing that he was about to drink it. He couldn't help but quickly stop him. Old master, this medicine, what is it called? Feng Sanyuan glanced at him. I'll taste it to see if it's bitter or not. Feng girl doesn't like to drink this kind of medicine the most. As he spoke, he took a sip. It was bitter and smelly in his mouth. The thick smell of medicinal herbs mixed together, and it was abnormally unpleasant to drink. He frowned and said, It's bitter and unpleasant. Good medicine is bitter. Fan Lin said. Feng Sanyuan looked at the bowl of black medicine and sighed. I hope that after drinking this medicine, Feng girl's body can get better as soon as possible. He waved his hand and said, Just give this medicine to me. I'll go feed it to her. As he said this, he walked inside. In the room, Lung Shuang was using water to dab Fengjiu's lips so that her lips wouldn't be too dry. Seeing them come in, he retreated to the side. Lung Shuang, help me help Feng Girl up. I'll feed her the medicine. Feng Sanyuan said this and motioned for Lung Shuang to help. Yes. Lung Shuang responded and carefully helped Fengjiu up, letting her lean on her body. Lung Shuang then took out a handkerchief and wrapped it around Fengjiu's neck to prevent the medicine from staining her clothes. Fengjiu blew on the medicine in the bowl 3 times to cool it down. When he felt that the temperature was not too hot, he scooped a spoonful and brought it to Fengjiu's lips. Little Feng, drink the medicine. Although it's bitter and smells bad, it's medicine prescribed by the Medicine King. It's good for your body. As he muttered, he fed her the medicine. However, because she was not surprised, she did not swallow the medicine. Instead, it flowed out from the corner of her mouth. Feng Sanyuan's heart ached when he saw this, and he said, "Come, drink a little more. Drink as much as you can." He patiently fed her half a bowl of medicine, and in the end, only half of it would enter her mouth. Putting the bowl to the side, Feng Sanyuan said to Lung Shuang, "Later, help Feng Girl wipe her body and turn her back. She's been lying here for so long, she can't not move. It's not good for her blood circulation. Also, she's pregnant now, so you have to be careful when taking care of her." Yes, Lung Shuang understands. Lung Shuang responded and gently helped her master lie down. After sending them out, she called Qin Exine and Bai Qin Cheng in to help. 2 days later, the Medicine King brought the refined medicine to Fengjiu's courtyard. He fed the medicine to Fengjiu and then told Fan Lin, Lung Hua, and the others, "You guys watch over her. After half a day, check her pulse and check her body's condition. I'm going back to rest first. If she wakes up, inform me immediately." Okay. Lung Hua and Fan Lin responded and had people send him to the courtyard to rest. The 2 of them stayed here. Every once in a while, Fan Lin would go in to check Fengjiu's pulse. Chapter 36:21. Lung Shuang had fallen asleep by the side of the bed. She did not know that the eyelashes of the person on the bed had fluttered slightly. The room was silent. Only the chirping of the birds on the branches outside could be heard. Fengjiu felt as if all the strength in her body had been sucked out. Her body was so weak that she could not move. Her eyelids were so heavy that she could not open them. She felt that her body was weak and that her injuries had not yet healed. She used her divine sense to check the condition of the green lotus in her body. She saw that the originally blooming green lotus had closed up. The green petals were all folded up like a flower bud. The light was also very weak, as if it had been severely depleted. That's right. She remembered now. When she saw Mo Zhe's condition, she was worried and did not care about her own body to transfer life force to Mo Zhe. That life force was the life force of the green lotus. Now that he had used up so much of it, it was no wonder that his body had not recovered from the injuries that could be healed by the green lotus life force. However, although the blooming green lotus had turned into a flower bud, although the spiritual energy in her body had been severely depleted, although she was now lying on the bed, unable to move, she did not regret it at all. As long as she could protect Mo Zhe and give him a chance to live, she would not regret it even if she had to exchange her life for it. Thinking of Xianyuan Mo's, who she did not know about, and thinking of Mo Chun, who had disappeared from the world to protect her, she knew that she could not continue sleeping. She had to wake up and open her eyes. The belief in her heart was firm. With her firm will and belief, she slowly opened her heavy eyelids and struggled to open her eyes. Sensing that there was someone by the bed, she moved slightly. Just as she was about to speak, she saw Lung Shuang, who had been lying on the bed, suddenly raise her head. When she saw that she had woken up, her face was filled with surprise and excitement. "Master, master, you're awake." Lung Shuang was pleasantly surprised to see Fengjiu open her eyes. Her heart was filled with joy. She quickly stood up and asked, "Master, are you thirsty? Do you want to drink water? Are you hungry? I'll get someone to bring some porridge over." "Zhe, how is he?" Fengjiu moved his lips and asked weakly. Hearing her ask about the Yama Lord, Lung Shuang didn't know how to answer. Now that mistress's body was so weak, and she had just woken up, if she knew that the Yama Lord's condition was not good, wouldn't she be agitated? Would it affect his body again? Just as he was hesitating and thinking about what to say, he heard Fan Lin and Lung Hua's voices from outside. Is Master awake? Let's go in and take a look. Not long after, two people walked in from outside. The others were worried that it would not be good if too many people rushed in, so they could only wait outside. Another person remembered the Medicine King's words and hurriedly went to inform the Medicine King, asking him to come over and take a look at their master. When Feng Sanyuan and Feng Xiao heard the news that Feng Jiao had woken up, they hurriedly rushed over. Little Hao was practicing his swordsmanship in the courtyard early in the morning. When he heard that his mother had woken up, he immediately put away his sword and quickly ran to Feng Jiao's courtyard. After the time it takes to burn a stick of incense. How is it? Medicine King, how is her body? Feng Sanyuan looked at the Medicine King, who had taken her pulse, and asked. Chapter 36:22. Hearing the Medicine King's words, Feng Jiao's eyes were filled with worry as she asked, Has Master gone to see Mose? How is he? Hearing this, the Medicine King paused for a moment and said, His condition is not good. Moreover, there is nothing I can do about his condition. I can only wait for you to recover before I see if you can cure him. Feng Jiao's heart sank. She reached out to Lung Shuang and said, Help me up. Although Lung Shuang was worried about her health, he still carefully helped her up. Feng Sanyuan stepped forward and said, Little Feng, you have to be more careful. Don't be too emotional. You are pregnant with Mose's child now. You must take good care of the child. Feng Jiao, who was helped up by Lung Shuang, was startled when she heard this. She looked at the Medicine King and saw the Medicine King nodding at her. Seeing this, she couldn't help but feel an inexplicable feeling in her heart. She was pregnant? She was pregnant with Mose's child? She gently stroked her flat stomach. She thought that if Mose knew that she was pregnant with his child, he would be very happy, right? Thinking of this, she couldn't help but smile. However, in the next moment, she thought of her current condition and hurriedly asked the Medicine King, Master, is my child unstable? It's all right. I have been helping you nurse your body these past few days. Your child is fine now. However, it's better not to be too emotional. After all, you have only been pregnant for a short period of time, and your body has not fully recovered. Hearing this, Feng Jiao's anxious heart finally relaxed. Yes, I understand. I will be careful. Little Feng, your body is still weak. Don't walk on the ground. Come, grandfather will carry you to see Mose. Feng Sanyuan said, and helped her put on her coat by the bedside. Then, he went forward and carried her. Thank you, grandfather. Feng Jiao smiled faintly. She reached out and hugged him, leaning into his embrace. She knew that she had made grandfather and the others worried this time. Silly girl, you are grandfather's granddaughter. What are you thanking me for? Have you forgotten that grandfather often carried you like this when you were young and carried you everywhere to play? Feng Sanyuan said with a smile. Then, he carried her out. Feng Jiao leaned into his embrace and thought of the memories in her mind. Yes, even if the little girl in her memories was not her, the happy memories of the little girl had always remained in her mind. She had inherited everything from the little girl, so naturally she could feel the familial love and warmth that came from her family. Feng Xiao watched as his father carried his daughter out. He couldn't help but wipe his tears and follow him out. It's good that she woke up. There was hope. Xiao Jiao, this child, had gone through too many hardships. When they arrived at the room next door, Feng Sanyuan carefully placed her on the bed. Looking at Feng Jiao, who was so weak that she didn't even have the strength to speak, and the unconscious Xinyuan Mose, who was lying quietly on the bed, they sighed softly. They gestured for everyone to leave, leaving only Lung Shuang by her side to look after her. Madam. Chapter 36:23. Feng Jiao glanced at Hui Lang. Seeing his haggard expression and red eyes, she softly said, You can go out. Go back and rest. I'll let them come in and take care of him. Madam, I want to take care of Master, Hui Lang said. Looking at Master on the bed, his heart ached. I'll take care of him. It's not a matter of a day or two. Go. Feng Jiu's gaze fell on Xianyuan Mo's. She didn't look at Hui Lang again. Hui Lang wanted to say something, but Lung Shuang said, Master has just woken up. His body is still weak. Don't let him speak too much. It's too tiring. Hearing this, Hui Lang lowered his head and nodded. After looking at the two of them, he walked out. He thought that he would go back to tidy up and rest for a while before coming back. You said that I've been asleep for half a month? Feng Jiu asked Lung Shuang softly. Yes, Master has been unconscious for half a month. Lung Shuang replied. So he's been sleeping like this all this time? He hasn't woken up yet. Feng Jiu held Xianyuan Mo's hand with one hand and gently stroked his face with the other. Lung Shuang paused for a moment and said, Yes, Fan Lin and Yao Wang didn't dare to use medicine. However, they both said that the Yama Lord's body was protected by vitality. As long as Master wakes up, the Yama Lord will also wake up. Feng Jiu put her hand on Xianyuan Mo's pulse. Her heart sank when she felt his pulse. She didn't think that with the vitality of the blue lotus protecting his body, his condition would still be so serious. It was also fortunate that she had allowed him to take that medicinal pill that day. Otherwise, even if he had the life force of the green lotus protecting his body, the internal injuries in his body would have taken his life after enduring for so many days. She took out a pill from her space and stuffed it into Xianyuan Mo's mouth. Looking at the unconscious Xianyuan Mo's and thinking about Mo Chun, who had already disappeared from the world, Feng Jiu's heart ached. He asked, Have you sent anyone to Mo Chen's home? Lung Hua and Du Fan have already been there, Lung Hua said. Hearing that, Feng Jiu closed her eyes and didn't say anything. She just sat there quietly. After a while, she lay down beside Xianyuan Mo's and said, You can leave now. I'll stay here with him. Yes, Lung Hua replied, but didn't leave. Instead, he helped Feng Jiu cover with a blanket before walking out and closing the door. Seeing that Lung Hua was the only one who came out, the people outside were surprised. Didn't I tell you to stay inside with her? Why did you come out? Master is resting inside. Let me out, Lung Shuang said, and turned around to take a look. Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Feng Sanyuan and Feng Xiao looked at each other and told Lung Hua to take care of them before leaving first. Hao who hadn't been able to say anything, wanted to follow them in. However, hearing that his mother was already resting inside, he didn't disturb her. However, he didn't leave either. Instead, he sat in the courtyard and waited. From time to time, he would look at the tightly shut door. In the room, Feng Jiu reached out and hugged Xianyuan Mo's waist. She buried her face in his chest and said softly, Mose, I'm pregnant. Are you happy? I'm pregnant with our child. Tell me, will it be a boy or a girl? Chapter 36:24. Feng Jiu's body gradually recovered after a few days of recuperation. However, her original strength of a divine king had plummeted to that of a venerable immortal. Her current strength was even lower than the people around her. Moreover, the green lotus in her body seemed to have fallen into a deep slumber. The green lotus was unable to supply her with vitality and was unable to heal her internal injuries. These few days, her body was nursed back to health by the king of medicine. Originally, she was unable to stand up and speak weakly. Now, she had recovered to almost 70%, which made everyone very happy. Mother, the weather is very good today. Hao accompany Mother for a walk outside. Hao walked in and came to Feng Jiu, who was sitting on the bed and reading a book. Hearing this, Feng Jiu glanced at the weather outside, closed the book in her hand, and put it aside. She revealed a smile and said, Okay, go ask Lung Hua and Du Fan to come in. Ask them to help your father outside to bask in the sun. How? Responded and quickly walked out. Not long after, Lung Hua and Du Fan came in and bowed to Feng Jiu. Master, prepare a soft bed outside and help him out to bask in the sun. Feng Jiu instructed as she got out of bed. Before her feet touched the ground, she saw a small figure running up to her. "Mother, put on your shoes." "Ow." Clumsily squatted on the ground and helped her put on her shoes. Feng Jiu looked at this scene and felt a surge of warmth in her heart. She smiled gently and reached out to touch Hao-er's head. "Hao-er is so obedient. Leave it. Mother can put on herself. Hao-er has to take care of Mother." The young voice was firm. Because he had never helped anyone put on their shoes, he was a little clumsy. It took him a while to help her put on her shoes. However, before Feng Jiu could say anything, he ran to the side and brought a coat for Feng Jiu. "Mother, it's sunny and windy outside. You have to put on your coat. Don't catch a cold." He knew that his mother was pregnant with a baby and that her body was still very weak, so he had to take good care of her. Seeing this, Feng Jiu reached out to take it, put on his coat, and then held his hand as they walked out. After Du Fan and Lung Hua helped Xianyuan Mose to the soft couch outside, they retreated out of the courtyard. In the courtyard, there was only Feng Jiu, Xianyuan Mose, and Hao lying on the soft couch. Even Lung Shuang and the others had retreated outside. Under the warm sun, Feng Jiu fed Xianyuan Mose a bottle of nutrient solution. Looking at his thin face, she couldn't help but feel distressed. Even with the nutrient solution providing the nutrients his body needed, he was still gradually losing weight. However, right now, she could only save his life, but she couldn't wake him up. When she was poisoned by the Black Lotus energy, it was Mo Chun who saved her. Now that Mo Chun was gone, the Green Lotus in her body was also in a deep sleep. How could she get rid of the Black Lotus energy in his body and wake him up? Until now, she still had no clue. After feeding him the nutrient solution, Feng Jiu took one of his hands and gently squeezed it, moving his tendons, meridians, and blood. Hao-er, who was sitting obediently on the chair, saw this and tilted his head to ask, "Mother, what can you do by squeezing Father's hand like this?" Chapter 36:25. Feng Jiu smiled as she watched his small hands gently pinch Moses' arms. There are many acupuncture points in the human body, and the same goes for the arms. Look, you have to pinch like this to feel the tendons and veins under the skin. Feng Jiu taught him as she said, "You don't have to use too much strength, but you can't use too little either. Moderate strength is the most suitable. If you pinch this place, the arm will instantly become numb and droop powerlessly." Hao-er listened attentively as he watched, memorizing her words in his heart. After moving his hands and tendons, Feng Jiu gently turned Xianyuan Mose over so that he was lying on his side. She bent her palm slightly and gently patted his back. She didn't use much strength, but it was enough to move the blood on his back. Like here, the acupuncture points here are like this. Feng Jiu taught her how to recognize the acupuncture points while patting Xianyuan Mose's back. After a long while, she looked at Hao-er, who was listening attentively, and asked, "Do you remember?" Hao-er nodded. I remember." Feng Jiu helped Xianyuan Mose lie down and helped him massage his legs and soles. She also explained some of the acupuncture points on the human body to how, in the courtyard, there was a peaceful atmosphere, except for Xianyuan Mose, who had been sleeping all this time, who hadn't woken up. Outside the courtyard, they looked at the scene in the courtyard and withdrew their gazes. They looked at each other and didn't say anything. They just waited quietly. In the evening, Feng Jiu, Feng Sanyuan, Feng Shao, and Guan Shilin were eating in the courtyard. They helped her put food in her bowl from time to time. She looked at the small mountain of food and smiled. "I can't eat so much. You guys eat. You don't have to keep putting food in my bowl. Then drink a bowl of chicken soup. This is nourishing black spirit chicken. It's very good for the body." Feng Sanyuan said as he scooped a bowl of chicken soup for her. Seeing this, Feng Jiu drank the chicken soup and said to them, "Grandfather, Father, you've been here for a few days. Now that I've woken up, you don't have to worry anymore. You're gone. Only grandmother and mother are at home. I think you should find time to go back. Otherwise, they'll be worried at home. There's nothing at home. But you're like this and your body hasn't fully recovered. We'll be worried even if we go back. Feng Sanyuan. Originally, your mother and mother, they wanted to come, but they were afraid that they would cry and affect your body. So they didn't. You're getting better these few days. I've already sent the news. You're well. You retest now. There. R. The S. Xiao Jio's body was getting better, but Mo Zhe's body. Feng Jio smiled. She knew what they were worried about, but she was worried about them being separated from their family. What's more, her body was fine now. It was time for them to go home and be with their family. At least, if something really happened, they would be there. Actually, I want you to go back. I want you to go to Mo Zhe's father and tell him about this. She paused and said, Mo Zhe's situation is like this now. The people below haven't told him about this yet, but he'll know about this sooner or later. Compared to letting others go, I think it's more appropriate for you guys to go. Chapter 36:26. All right, since that's the case, we'll make a trip there. However, your body, don't worry, grandfather. I'll take good care of myself. Feng Jiu smiled slightly, telling them not to worry. Thus, after the meal, Feng Sanyuan and Feng Xiao went back to make preparations. They planned to leave at night when no one was paying attention. As the night deepened, Feng Jiu leaned against the head of the bed in the room. She glanced at Xianyuan Mose, who was lying on the bed, then continued to flip through the books in her hands. Although she was anxious to find a way to wake him up, she also knew that her body could not be exhausted. Thus, after flipping through the books for a while, she lay down beside him and leaned against him to sleep. After a few days, as her body gradually recovered, the Medicine King came to the courtyard. He looked at Feng Jiu and said, Your body is getting better, and the fetus is stable. There's nothing else for me to do here, so I'll go back first. His voice paused. Then he said, I'll go back to look through the books for Mose. If I find a way, I'll let you know. Many thanks, Master. Feng Jiu thanked him and personally went out, saying, If there's a chance in the future, I'll return to the valley to see Master. All right, you should take care of the things at hand first. There's no need to worry about your master. He waved his hand and walked out without saying anything else. Feng Jiu watched him leave, then returned to the courtyard. When she arrived, she called Lung Hua and Du Fan over. Master. The two bowed and stood in front of her. Have you found any news about the Devil Master and Yin Shueshin? She asked, her gaze falling on the two of them. Hearing this, Du Fan said, I've already sent people to investigate, but there's still no news about them. Moreover, there's been no movement from the demonic cultivators in various places recently. It's as if they're all lying in ambush. Master, when I saw the Devil Master that day, his cultivation wasn't considered strong. Moreover, he was seriously injured by you before. Even if he obtained the Black Lotus seed, the ancient Black Lotus is only a lotus seed now. It's difficult for the Devil Master to have the same power as the Black Lotus Master. Therefore, I think that after he obtained the Black Lotus seed, he should be thinking about how to refine and possess it. He shouldn't dare to make us his enemy for the time being. Lung Hua calmly analyzed the matter. In his opinion, even if the Black Lotus seed fell into the hands of the Devil Master, it was only a lotus seed now, so it didn't have much power. In addition, the Devil Master's cultivation was weaker than their master's. Even if their master's cultivation had plummeted to immortal venerable, there were still many people around them who were comparable to the Devil Master. Sovereign Tontian was dead, and the Black Lotus Master was also destroyed between heaven and earth. The Devil Master alone wouldn't dare to make a move against them at this time. Feng Jiu listened and narrowed her eyes. She picked up the teacup on the table and took a sip of tea. She said slowly, You're right. He won't dare to make any moves for the time being. However, now that the Black Lotus has fallen into his hands, he won't be able to rest easy if he doesn't destroy or take it back. She paused and continued. Continue the investigation. Investigate both openly and secretly. Don't let go of any chance. Don't alert the enemy, even if you find out. Yes, the two of them answered. Go and call Hauer here. She waved her hand and dismissed them. Chapter 36:27. Mother. How? Came to her side and called out to her. Feng Jiu reached out to hold his hand and pulled him into her arms. Then she said softly, How Mother will send you back to your father's place, okay? How body stiffened when he heard this. His eyes immediately turned red. He lowered his head and didn't say anything, but his little mouth was pursed with grievance. Feng Jiu turned him around and made him face her. Mother, does Mother not like Hao anymore? He raised his head and asked with tears in his eyes. He was sad and heartbroken, but when he thought of how his mother didn't like boys crying, he forced his tears back. Feng Jiu was startled when she heard this. She smiled and reached out to rub his head. Silly child, what nonsense are you talking about? How could Mother not want Hao? How could Mother not like Hao? You'll always be Mother's good son. Mother likes you the most. But Mother wants to drive Hao away. He pursed his little mouth and looked at her with grievance. Feng Jiu revealed a gentle smile. Mother doesn't want to drive Hao away. Mother has to take care of your father, and I'm afraid I can't take care of you. Moreover, Mother has to find a way to treat your father. I probably won't stay here for long. Now that my strength has fallen to the level of an immortal venerable, I'm worried that I can't protect Hao. That's why I want Hao to go back to your father's place. You can cultivate properly there. With your biological parents taking care of you, Mother doesn't have to worry about Hao. Hao's mood improved when he heard this. He was already sensible. As long as she explained it clearly, he would understand. After hearing her words, he thought for a moment and asked, Where is Mother going to find a way to treat Father? Is Mother going to take Father with her? If Mother and Father leave, when will you come back? Feng Jiu hugged him and said softly, We'll go wherever there's a way. When your father wakes up, we'll come back. But what if Hao misses Mother? Didn't Mother leave you a communication jade tablet? You can use that to talk to Nianqin. The two of them chatted for a while in the courtyard before letting him go back first. She then sent a message to the Black Tortoise Monarch, asking him to bring Hao back. Sitting alone in the courtyard, she waved her hand, and a golden lotus seed appeared in her hand. Looking at the golden lotus seed, Feng Jiu's eyes flashed. This was the only thing Mo Chun had left behind. His entire being had disappeared from this world, leaving behind nothing but this golden lotus seed that she had given him. When she thought of him, there was an indescribable feeling in her heart. They had known each other for so long and had been together for so long, but she only recognized him right before he died. He had disguised himself too well. He had hidden all his feelings and emotions deep in his heart. If it wasn't for the look he gave her before he died, she wouldn't have known that he was him. When she thought of the man who seemed to have appeared in her previous life, the man who had been hidden deep in her heart before she met Xinyuan Mose, her heart ached. It had been 2 lifetimes. In both lifetimes, she had watched him die helplessly. It was like this in her previous life, and it was also like this in this life. Chapter 36:28. She had always thought that Mo-chan was protecting her because of his so-called responsibility. But at that moment, she finally knew that he was protecting her because he was himself. And he knew that she was herself. She held the golden lotus seed in her hand and sighed softly in her heart. They were not fated to be together in both lifetimes. It was like that in her previous life, but in this life, her heart had long been occupied by Xinyuan Mose. She thought about how he had recognized her, but had never acknowledged her, and had only silently protected her. She knew that he wanted her to be happy and did not want to disturb her. He did not want her to know that he had always been by her side, protecting her. She got up and returned to her room. She sat by the bed and glanced at Xinyuan Mose, who was lying on the bed. In the end, she flashed into her space and stood in front of the spring water. She looked at her reflection in the water and slowly opened her palm, revealing the golden lotus seed. This was the lotus seed that Mo-chan had left behind. She threw it into the spring water and let it grow. She would treat it as a memento that Mo-chan had left behind. With a move of her hand, she threw the lotus seed into the spring water. She watched as the golden lotus seed sank into the spring water and sank to the bottom. She then retracted her gaze and glanced at the few contracted beasts in the space, asking them to make room for her. She then saw that the fire phoenix had already fallen asleep and was recovering. She then flashed out of the space. She wanted to leave and find a way. She did not want to leave Mose here alone, so she wanted to take him with her. The space was the best place to stay. The next day, Lung Shuang and the others who heard that she was leaving couldn't help but feel anxious. Du Fan stood in front of Feng Jiu and said anxiously, "Master, even if your body has recovered, you can't lack people by your side. Even if you're going to leave, you should at least take us with you. Otherwise, how can we be at ease if you leave alone?" Feng Jiu ate 2 mouthfuls of bird's nest before saying, "I'm not going alone. I'm going to take Mose with me." It would have been better if she didn't say anything. Now that she did, everyone's faces were overflowing with worry. "Mistress, now that you are pregnant, how can you take care of the Yama Lord? What's more, you haven't even passed the first 3 months of pregnancy, so it's not suitable for you to be too tired. Master, even if you want to go out, please wait until the fetus has stabilized in the first 3 months." Fan Lin said worriedly. When they heard that their master was going to leave with the Yama Lord and not them, everyone could not sit still. "Master, if you're going out, please take us with you." Lung Shuang and Lung Hua knelt down. Seeing them kneel, Du Fan and the others also knelt down and begged, "Master, please take us with you." Feng Jiu, who was eating the bird's nest, looked at them and was stunned. He frowned and said, "What are you doing? Get up. Master, let us go with you. Let us follow you and serve you, Master. Master, let us stay by your side and serve you. If you leave and don't take us with you, what's the point of us staying here?" "That's right, madam. You're pregnant with the little master now. If master knows that we let you go alone without anyone by your side to take care of you, master will be very angry." Chapter 36:29. Master, please take us with you. Master, please let us serve you by your side. Master, please after please, and worried gazes fell on her. Seeing them like this, Feng Jiu sighed softly. "Get up, all of you. I haven't decided yet. I just mentioned it. Why are you so nervous?" Hearing this, everyone looked at each other but did not get up. They continued to kneel in front of her. Seeing this, Feng Jiu looked at them and said softly, "It's not impossible to take you with me, but you have to arrange everything." Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up and they quickly stood up. "Master, don't worry. We will arrange everything." The old man and the others left with Guan Shilin. The Medicine King also left. Han Yuan Zi, Luo Fei, and the others also left one after another. Now, only the Phoenix Guards and those who had always been by their master's side were left in the manor. In addition, they heard their master say that he was going to send Hao to the Black Tortoise Sovereign. In this way, they only needed to arrange some other things, and then they could leave without worry. Feng Jiu waved his hand and said, "Go. Arrange everything at hand. Also, Qin Xin and Qing Xin go to the city to buy some daily necessities. After a few days, when everything is ready, we can leave together." "Yes." Everyone looked at each other and smiled. They immediately moved quickly, leaving only Lung Hua, Lung Shuang, and Hui Lang to accompany them in the courtyard. At noon, the Black Tortoise Sovereign came to the Feng Manor. When he entered the courtyard and saw Feng Jiu, he smiled. "I haven't seen you for a few days. The ghost doctor has recovered very quickly. It seems that your body is fine." Feng Jiu smiled and invited him to sit. "I've been recuperating during this time. I haven't thanked the Sovereign for the precious herbs you sent." "Ah, you and I don't need to thank each other." The Black Tortoise Sovereign waved his hand and smiled. "I'm very happy to see you recover. I just don't know how the Yama Lord is doing. Is there any improvement?" Feng Jiu sipped his tea and said softly, "Other than wanting to go back with you, Monarch, I also have something to ask you." Hearing this, the Black Tortoise Monarch was slightly surprised and asked, "What do you mean by that?" "After that battle, I think you know that I have the ancient green lotus in my body," Feng Jiu said directly, looking at King Black Tortoise. Monarch Black Tortoise nodded. "I know, and I'm not the only one who knows. I'm guessing that all the other experts know about the ancient green lotus in your body. After all, the battle caused a huge commotion. Even though the other monarchs didn't do anything, they were still paying attention to it. Although I've always said that I have the ancient green lotus in my body, it should be the chaotic green lotus. Fengjiu said slowly, looking at Monarch Black Tortoise, who was slightly surprised. The chaotic green lotus is also known as the Genesis green lotus. It once produced 4 lotus seeds. One of them is the black lotus of destruction. Among the 4 ancient lotuses that have appeared, other than the chaotic green lotus, only the black lotus of destruction has appeared. Therefore, I want to ask, has Monarch Black Tortoise heard about the whereabouts of the other lotus seeds? Or who has information about the other lotus seeds? Chapter 3630. He paused for a moment and looked at Fengjiu. Moreover, I heard you say that you want to leave this place. Do you know that everyone outside is watching you? Especially the cultivators from other territories. If they know that your strength has fallen to the immortal venerable level, I'm afraid you'll be in danger again. In addition, you're pregnant now. You have to take care of the Yama Lord and the child in your belly. In my opinion, it's not suitable for you to go out. However, if you don't mind, you can bring your people and stay with me for a while. After you give birth to the child, my wife and I are very willing to help you take care of it. He admired Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mo's from the bottom of his heart. Moreover, they were his son's adoptive parents. This relationship was naturally extraordinary. Now that one of them was unconscious, the other's strength had fallen sharply, and she was pregnant, he was naturally willing to take care of them, if possible. Hearing his words, Fengjiu smiled. Thank you, but there's no need. I can do it. She was never someone who needed protection from others and would not seek protection. Even if her strength had fallen to the immortal venerable level, to her, as long as she was given time, how difficult would it be for her to become a divine king again? Seeing her like this, Monarch Xuanwu sighed softly and said, Since you've made up your mind, I won't force you. As for the lotus seed you mentioned, I think you can go to the territories of other monarchs and ask around. Maybe you'll find some unexpected news. Okay, I understand. She nodded in response. The two chatted in the courtyard for a while until Leng Hua brought her over. Then they stopped talking. Father, mother. Stepped forward, bowed, and called out respectfully. Monarch Xuanwu only smiled when he heard this. This child was like this. From the beginning, he only called his biological parents father and mother, but to his adoptive parents, Xianyuan Mo's and Fengjiu, he always called them father and mother. Naturally, the closeness between them could be heard immediately. Even so, he did not blame him. After all, they did not fulfill their responsibilities as parents. Now that he was willing to accept them and call him father, he was already satisfied. How? Do you know that your mother wants you to go back with your father? Monarch Black Tortoise asked as his gaze fell on How? Glanced at Fengjiu and nodded. He sounded a little unhappy. What? You don't want to go back with father? Monarch Black Tortoise looked at him, amused. How? Lowered his head and didn't say anything. He didn't want to go back. He wanted to stay by his father and mother's side. However, he was currently very weak. If he stayed by his father and mother's side, he would only be a burden to them and would not be able to protect them. Thinking of this, he raised his head and looked firmly at Fengjiu. His young voice carried determination. Mother, I will go back with father. After I go back, Hao will work hard to cultivate. Hao will become very strong. In the future, Hao will protect father and mother. At that time, mother will not be able to chase Hao away. Hearing this, Fengjiu's heart ached. She reached out and pulled him into her arms tightly. She said softly, Hao is so good. Hao will listen to your father and mother when you go back. Mother will wait for Hao to become strong. Chapter 3631. Fengjiu took out a bottle of pills from the space and handed it to him. Hao, this is a pill that can help you improve your strength, but it's not for you to use now. You have to know that if you don't rely on pills to advance, your foundation will be more stable and there will be more room for improvement in the future. There are 2 pills in here. Don't take them before you reach the golden elixir realm. After you reach the golden elixir realm, you can do as you see fit or ask your father. There's also this bottle. Feng Jiu took out another bottle and said, "This is a life-saving medicinal pill that can treat internal injuries. No matter how serious your internal injuries are, as long as you take one, it can save your life. Keep it with you just in case." Hearing this, Hao reached out and took it. Looking at the 2 bottles of pills, he thought of the pills in his space and said, "Mother, I still have the pills you gave me before. It's okay. Keep these too." Feng Jiu smiled and rubbed his head. Seeing this, Hao put away the pills. After they talked for a while in the courtyard, Feng Jiu sent them away. After they left, she returned to the room to help Xian Yuan Mo's massage his tendons and veins, moving his blood and qi while talking to him. Hao is gone. I asked the Black Tortoise Monarch to come and take him away. Letting him return to his biological parents is the best for him. Feng Jiu's voice came out softly, as if she was chatting with Xian Yuan Mo's. That child is filial. We didn't dote on him for nothing. Do you know? He said that he will work hard to cultivate when he goes back. When he becomes stronger in the future, he will protect us. Feng Jiu couldn't help but smile. I've already asked Leng Hua and the others to make the arrangements. We'll leave in a few days. I'll take you around. If we can find the whereabouts of the ancient golden lotus, maybe I can help you get rid of the black aura in your body. It's just I don't know where to look for it, but I think we should go behind the waterfall we found last time and take a look. We don't know which monarch's world is there, but maybe the ancient golden lotus we are looking for will be there. She muttered until she was tired. Tired, she lay down next to him and fell asleep with him in her arms. Early in the morning 2 days later, before the sun had even risen, Feng Jiu left the Feng Manor with Leng Hua and the others. They left quietly, without alerting anyone. No one knew that they had left. After a few days, they arrived at the area where Sovereign Tong Tian had been. The purple gold spirit deer carriage was slowly moving along the mountain path. In addition to the few people following beside the spirit deer carriage, there was also Ying Yi and the others guarding in the dark. Leng Shuang and Qin Xin, who were also sitting in the carriage, saw that their master's face was a little pale. They couldn't help but say, "Master, why don't we rest for a while? You'll feel better." Feng Nine leaned against the soft couch and responded. Leng Hua, who was driving the carriage outside, stopped the spirit deer carriage. He jumped off the carriage first, and by Qin Cheng, who was sitting outside, got off the carriage and opened the curtain to let Feng Nine come down. "Master, be careful. I'll support you," Qin Xian said, and carefully helped Feng Jiu out of the carriage. Chapter 36-32. Feng Jiu came to the grass and sat down. She looked at the open space in the mountains and smelled the fresh smell of grass and trees in the air. Her chest, which was originally a little stuffy, gradually relaxed. She took a few sips of water from Leng Shuang and took out some spiritual fruits from the space. She handed them to everyone and said, "Share these to moisten your throats." Yes. Qin Xian took the spiritual fruits and distributed them to everyone. There were more than a dozen people in their group. It was not a small number, but it was not a large number either. However, each of them was very powerful. As long as they were not up against people like the sovereign, no one could do anything to them. As they were traveling in a low-key manner, their cultivations were also concealed. At first glance, they looked just like ordinary guards. However, what was different from ordinary guards was that each of them had an outstanding temperament, and their appearances were all top-notch. Dufan looked at the land and said, "Master, since the death of the sovereign of Skirich, no one has taken over his land. Now that the spiritual power that shrouded this land has dissipated, it can be said that this land is ownerless." Feng Jiu ate a spiritual fruit and looked at the land. She said softly, "This land is not ownerless. It's just that at this time, people from all over the world are watching quietly. No one dares to take over this land." Her eyes moved slightly, and she said slowly, "The sovereign of Skirich and the Black Lotus Lord died in our hands. Those people know very well who this land belongs to. If they dare to take over this land, it's obvious that they want to be enemies with us. I think, at present, if there's no sufficient benefit, they won't take the risk of being enemies with us to take over this land." Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. In other words, this land also belongs to Master? They had not thought of this at first. They had only thought that since their master's strength had plummeted, the Lord of Hell was still unconscious, and the sovereign of this world had already fallen. It was strange that no one dared to take over this place after such a long time. After their master's reminder, they had thought of this. It wasn't that no one wanted it, but that no one dared to. On the mountain road, the faint sound of carriages could be heard from afar. The people guarding Fengjiu looked in that direction and saw several carriages coming from not far away. Because they were running very fast, the hooves of the horses raised a lot of dust on the mountain road. Seeing people passing by, Luo Yu pulled the spirit deer carriage to the side so as not to block those people passing by. The others stood around Fengjiu, blocking her from the passers-by. Perhaps it was because they didn't expect to see a carriage stopping on this mountain path, but in the carriage in front, a woman lifted the curtain and looked out. When she saw a group of handsome men standing together, as if they were blocking something, the woman couldn't help but be curious. However, no matter how she looked, she couldn't see what those men were guarding. When the carriage passed by the spirit deer, her eyes lit up and she couldn't help but exclaim, "Purple gold spirit deer. So beautiful. Stop the carriage." The woman patted the carriage to stop, her eyes fixed on the spirit deer carriage. When she saw the low-key but luxurious purple gold spirit deer carriage, she couldn't help but look at those men. "This purple gold spirit deer carriage is yours." Chapter 36-33. "Shaner, what's wrong?" The middle-aged man's voice came out as he looked outside. However, when he saw the scene outside the carriage, his eyes couldn't help but narrow, especially when he saw his daughter walking towards the purple gold spirit deer and reaching out to touch it. He immediately shouted, "Shana, stop!" His heart skipped a beat. He quickly got off the carriage and pulled his daughter back to the side of the carriage. His dignified eyes were filled with fierceness as he stared at her. Back to the carriage. "Father, look, those are the purple gold spirit deer." The girl was pulled to the side of the carriage, but her eyes were still staring at the purple gold spirit deer carriage. Looking at the two extremely beautiful purple gold spirit deer, she couldn't help but want to touch them. Two young men came down from the carriage behind. Before they got close, they asked, "Father, what's wrong? Go back." The middle-aged man shouted in a deep voice, his dignified eyes falling on his daughter. Being shouted at like this, the girl couldn't help but feel embarrassed. She felt wronged and her eyes reddened. She stamped her feet and rushed into the carriage. She threw herself into the arms of the woman who was leaning half of her body out to see what was going on and cried. The middle-aged man didn't pay attention to his daughter. Instead, he took a deep breath and looked at Du Fan and the others in front of him. He cautiously cupped his hands and said apologetically, "I'm really sorry. My daughter is rude and has disturbed everyone." Du Fan held a fan in his hand and fanned himself with a friendly smile on his face. It's fine. We still have to hurry on, so we'll take our leave first." The middle-aged man cupped his hands again and said, even though he looked at the other side with a smile, he didn't feel the slightest bit of friendliness and gentleness. There was only a sense of horror that made people's hair stand on end. "Please," Du Fan said, and looked at them with a smile. The middle-aged man didn't dare to stay for long. He ordered his two sons who were standing not far away, "Go back to the carriage. We'll continue on our way." His warning gaze fell on them. The two didn't dare to ask any more questions. After answering, they glanced at the others and walked back to the carriage. The group of people sat in the carriage and left just like that, not daring to stay for even a moment. From beginning to end, none of them saw who the person behind the group of men was. After watching those people leave, the smile on Du Fan's face gradually disappeared, and a cold light flashed at his eyes. He snorted and put away the fan in his hand. If that woman had dared to touch his master's purple gold spirit deer, her hands would have been gone. However, the middle-aged man was tactful. "Master, are you hungry? Do you want to eat something?" Lung Shuang asked. He was worried that she would not be able to eat something good on the way. After all, she was eating alone now, and the child in her belly also needed to be nourished. "I don't have much of an appetite, and I don't feel like eating." "Don't bother. Let's go after a short rest," Fengjiu said as he rested his chin on his hand and looked ahead, enjoying the cool breeze. On the other side, after a long distance, the carriage slowly slowed down. The two men in the back came to the front carriage and heard their sister crying inside. They lifted the curtain and asked, "Father, what happened just now? Why is sister crying like this?" Chapter 36-34. Don't cry anymore. His voice was filled with anger. He slammed his hand on the small table in the carriage, scaring the woman who was crying in the woman's arms. She stopped crying and didn't dare to cry again. The two brothers standing beside the carriage couldn't help but look at each other when they saw this. "All right, let's talk nicely. The child isn't insensible," the woman said as she looked at the middle-aged man and patted her daughter in her arms. "Don't cry. Your father must have his reasons for scolding you. When you're outside, you have to be careful. You were too foolish just now." The girl bit her lip and didn't speak. She just lowered her head. "If I didn't stop her, I don't even know where her hands would be." The middle-aged man frowned and glanced at his daughter. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. "What? How could that be?" I just want to touch the purple gold spirit deer," the girl whispered. Her eyes were full of disapproval, thinking that her father was making a fuss over nothing. "How could that be?" The middle-aged man saw his daughter's expression and knew what she was thinking. His face darkened. "Do you think that an ordinary person can own a purple gold spirit deer? Do you think that an ordinary person has unfathomable strength as an attendant? Do you think that the man holding the fan and talking to you with narrowed eyes was really kind to you?" "Umph." He snorted heavily and said resentfully, "If I didn't stop you from getting close to the purple gold spirit deer, your hands would have been cut off by the man holding the fan." Hearing this, the girl was terrified and in disbelief. The two men standing beside the carriage were also shocked. Their expressions became serious. "Father, if we leave now, they won't care about little sister's previous rudeness, right?" The middle-aged man was silent for a while. "They probably won't. If they care about it, they probably won't let us go." He looked at them and said, "When you're outside, you have to be careful and modest. You have to know that people don't blame you for being polite. You have to think twice before you act, lest you get into trouble." "Yes, we will follow father's instructions." The two men cupped their hands and replied. The middle-aged man then looked at his daughter, who had her head lowered. He frowned and said to his wife, "When we go back, you will personally teach her the rules. She is not allowed to go out for 3 months. If you don't control your temper, you won't even know when you'll get into trouble." Only then did the woman respond. Following the middle-aged man's command, they continued on their way. However, along the way, the atmosphere was less relaxed than before and more solemn. After resting, Fengjiu and the others continued to move forward. Their journey wasn't very tight, and everyone was worried about Fengjiu's health. Therefore, the spirit deer carriage didn't move very fast. Instead, it moved steadily and slowly. On the stretch of road, there were only mountain paths and trees. There were no towns or the like. They walked until the sky was about to darken. Only then did they arrive at a small village. As soon as they entered the village, they saw that there were already a few carriages parked there, as well as some guards. Du Fan glanced at those people and said to Fengjiu, "Master, they're the people we met during the day." Chapter 36-35. Yes, everyone agreed. Lung Hua and Qin Xin then walked towards the small village, preparing to find a family for their mistress to rest. They could also cook some porridge for their mistress. The small village was not big. When they arrived, everyone in the village came out to take a look. Those who were resting here earlier also came out to take a look. "Father, it's the people we met on the road," the young man said to his father. Perhaps it was because of what his father said to them, but they were more cautious when they saw those people. The middle-aged man's face turned serious. After a moment of silence, he said, "Go tell our men not to bump into them." "Yes." The two of them replied and walked out. After the two men finished instructing their men, they stood in front of a door and looked towards the other side. They saw a red figure walking down from the purple gold spirit deer carriage. Beside her, two beautiful women were carefully supporting her. Because there were other men guarding the carriage, they couldn't see the other side's face even if they wanted to. However, just as she entered the door, they caught a glimpse of an absolutely beautiful side profile. What a beautiful woman! The two men's hearts trembled. Their eyes were filled with amazement. Even though the two women supporting her, one in black and one in white, were extremely beautiful, compared to the woman in red, they were not even 1/10,000th of her. Who was this woman? She rode the violet gold spirit deer carriage, and the men following her all had extraordinary auras. Even young nobles like them felt inferior when they saw them. There were also the two girls supporting her. Their appearances and auras were not ordinary maids. Even if one were to say that a young lady from a great clan, she would still be like a maid in front of these two girls. They stared blankly at the house that the woman in red had entered, unable to return to their senses for a long time. It was only when a gaze that made their hair stand on end fell upon them that they abruptly came to their senses. They met a man who was holding a fan in his hand and smiling at them with narrowed eyes. Seeing him, the two men could not help but remember their father's words. They cupped their hands and quickly returned to the house. Because Fengjiu was pregnant and she was worried about Mo's health, she appeared listless. After Qin Xian and Lung Hua tidied up the room, she went to the guest room to rest. This family was an old couple. Their son and everything else had gone to the city, leaving only the old couple at home. When they found out that Lung Hua wanted to stay in their house, they were very happy. After receiving the gold coins from Lung Hua, they gave the house to Lung Hua, and the old couple went to live in the house opposite. The house was filled with their own people. Everyone was busy with their work. After Fengjiu took a nap, Lung Shuang came in with the porridge. "Master, the porridge is ready." Fengjiu came to the table and sat down, saying, "Tell them not to disturb the other people in the village. We're only staying here for one night. We'll leave tomorrow." "Yes," Lung Shuang replied. After leaving a few instructions, he stood quietly at the side. After eating, Fengjiu let Lung Shuang leave. After the door was closed, she flashed into the space and came to the unconscious Xianyuan Mo's side. Chapter 36:36. In the darkness of the night, one of the guards went to the back of the village to relieve himself. No one knew what he stepped on, but he slipped and fell into the gully in front of him. "Ah!" That guard instinctively cried out in alarm and fell down. His head cracked open, and his cry of alarm came to an abrupt end. "What happened? What happened?" Hearing the commotion, the other two guards on night duty hurriedly came over to inquire, but they didn't see anyone. Until, after a while, a voice came from the gully. "It's nothing. I accidentally fell into this gully and even cracked my head." Hearing this, the other two guards said, "It's good that you're fine. Hurry up and get up. Find some medicine to wipe your head on." As they said that, they walked back. The two of them didn't notice that although the voice came from the gully, there wasn't any movement in the gully. If they went forward to take a look, they would see that the guard who fell down was lying motionless in the gully. And under his body, they could faintly see a sharp white bone. After a while, the motionless guard's fingers suddenly moved. He stood up from the gully and stretched his stiff body before slowly turning around. They saw that his face was pale and his face was stiff. The blood on his forehead flowed to his face, but it had already dried up. It looked extremely strange. The corners of his mouth twitched, revealing a sinister smile. He leaped out of the gully and walked forward step by step. The two guards on night duty waited for a while, but didn't see that person return. They said, "Why hasn't he come out after so long? Could he have fainted from the fall? How could he have fainted? Didn't he respond to us just now? Why don't we go take a look?" Hearing this, the two guards looked at each other and nodded. "All right, let's go take a look. It's so late, let him come back quickly." As they said that, they turned around to take a look. Who knew that when they turned around, they saw a person whose face was covered in blood standing silently behind them. The blood on his face gave them a fright. "Ah!" the two of them exclaimed in a low voice. When they saw that it was the guard who went to relieve himself, they couldn't help but exhale softly. They scolded in a bad mood. "Are you trying to scare people to death in the middle of the night? Your face is covered in blood. Why aren't you taking care of it?" The two of them patted their chests and saw him standing there expressionlessly looking at them. The two of them were a little scared by his gaze and couldn't help but ask, "What are you looking at?" The guard grinned. "It's nothing. I'm going to treat my wound." As he spoke, he turned around and was about to walk into one of the rooms. The two guards were so frightened that they hurriedly stepped forward to stop him. "Are you out of your mind? That's Miss Room." Hearing this, the guard turned around and said, "I forgot." He then asked, "Then where do I go to change my dressing?" "Go over there. The others are resting over there." As he spoke, the two guards looked at him strangely. "Did you get sick from a fall? Why are you acting so weird? It's very deep. The wound is very painful." The guard pointed at his head that was hit and smiled stiffly at the two of them. He then turned around and walked in the direction that the two of them pointed. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.